Chapter 1006. I don't like you, so of course I'll beat you up. Bai Lao, do it. Bai Yu frowned, her beautiful eyes filled with coldness. The Dog King's personality was too similar to Wang Kai's. They were both people who deserved to be beaten up. Anyone who saw them will want to teach them a lesson. The Prince of Dogs won't lower himself to your level. Goodbye, Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, the Dog King activated the black fog and disappeared into the void. Even if Bai Lao wanted to take action, it was too late. A true spirit of the world at the Sage Plane. If he wants to leave, I can't do anything to him. Elder Bai shook his head and sighed. He was extremely surprised by the Dog King's cultivation base as well. But now that he had witnessed Wang Kai's uniqueness, he felt that it was only natural for him to do so. Where did Wang Kai come from? Not only did he have an immortal spirit of heaven and earth, but it's also an immortal spirit of heaven and earth at the Sage Realm. When he transforms, won't he be a holy spirit? Bai Yu's beautiful eyes narrowed. She pursed her red lips and looked a little unwilling. There was even a hint of jealousy in her eyes. No matter where he comes from, he deserves our attention. Even if we can't be friends with him, we can't be enemies with him. With his talent, age, and luck, the mystic spirit domain can't accommodate him. The central region is his stage. Elder Bai stroked his beard. His words were full of praise and affirmation for Wang Kai. Even though Bai Yu felt very uncomfortable upon hearing this, she was unable to refute it. She simply did not know how to refute it. The central region was a place that was more powerful than the stone divine domain. It was the center of the entire Genesis continent, the most sacred place. It's hard to imagine an 18-year-old ancient sage. What kind of cultivation realm would he be in when he's 19 or 20? If there's a 19-year-old ancient sage or a 20-year-old ancient sage. At this point, Elder Bai didn't dare to think any further. This was because the sage of old was the strongest realm below the great sage realm. Humph, old Bai, you think too highly of him. Even in the middle region, there are plenty of ancient sages around the age of 18. Only those who have reached the age of 18 can be considered top geniuses in the middle region. Bai Yu snorted disdainfully. An 18-year-old in the sage realm? Hearing this, Elder Bai shook his head and laughed. He looked in the direction that the Dog King had left and said indifferently, "Let's not talk about whether he can reach the sage realm at the age of 18. Just this sage realm, true spirit of heaven and earth, is something that he can fuse with." Ha! Whoosh! With that said, Bai Yu's expression changed. Wang Kai, who was already extremely talented, was also an ancient sage. Once he merged with the sage realm, true spirit of heaven and earth, even if he couldn't reach the sage realm instantly, he could definitely reach it in a short time. Furthermore, when he broke through, the realm he would reach would be even higher. When he reached the central region, he would be a dazzling top genius. He would be above all the younger generation and be on par with the older generation. If possible, you should really think about how to get along with Wang Kai. If you can cooperate. Elder Bai stopped here and looked at Bai Yu indifferently. He didn't say anything else. Bai Yu also fell silent. She frowned and her beautiful eyes flickered. Even if she didn't like Wang Kai's domineering personality and style, she had to admit that he was too strong. He was so strong that he could establish himself in the central region. Once he reached the central region, he would be extremely famous. Even if she wanted to get involved with him, it would be difficult. After all, there were many geniuses and goddesses in the central region. "Let's go to Xianling School," Bai Yu said indifferently. Elder Bai glanced at her and asked in a strange tone, "Are you going there to seek revenge or to do something else? If it's the former, you don't have to go. You'll only embarrass yourself." "Old Bai, are you going to destroy your own family's prestige like this?" Bai Yu rolled her eyes and spoke in a displeased manner. "Haha, old man is doing this for your own good. If you anger him, I'm afraid Wang Kai won't be able to come back from Xianling School this time." Elder Bai shook his head and smiled bitterly. According to Wang Kai's personality, now that there was an equally arrogant Dog King in the Sage Realm, it was impossible for him to have peace. Even if he has some talent, he hasn't grown up yet. If I release the seal, I won't necessarily lose to him. Bai Yu's beautiful eyes focused, and her beautiful face was full of pride. Elder Bai was slightly stunned when he heard this. He frowned and thought for a while, then said, "You're 23 years old this year, 5 years older than him, but you're already a sage. Coupled with the strength of a divine stone master, you can indeed suppress him. However, we don't know if he has any other trump cards. Moreover, once you release the seal, there's no turning back. If you don't cooperate with him, I'm afraid you won't have a chance to settle your family's affairs." A 23-year-old sage realm cultivator who was also a divine stone master and a stone gambling master was considered a genius in the central region, but definitely not a top genius. It could only be said that she was above the geniuses and below the top geniuses. We'll see when we get there. Buzz. As soon as she finished speaking, Bai Yu stepped into the air and chased after the Dog King's aura. Seeing this, Elder Bai hesitated for a while, then followed closely behind. I hope she won't be rash. At the same time, the Dog King, who had just returned to Xianling School, ran directly to Wang Kai's courtyard. "Master, it's too dangerous outside. That little girl is the shopkeeper of the Shengyue Stone Gambling Workshop. Once she releases the seal, the Prince of Dogs will definitely be stewed in a dog soup." Hearing the Dog King's cry, Wang Kai, who was sitting cross-legged, slowly opened his eyes. Naturally, he had seen everything that had happened in the city. Even after the Dog King had escaped, Wang Kai had heard the conversation between Bai Yu and Elder Bai, a 23-year-old sage realm god-level stone gambling master. This Bai Yu is really something. However, compared to Ben Xiao, she's still a far cry. Any cow's head can throw her onto the bed and make her gasp for breath. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled casually. "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th grade Ancient Sage Realm." Host, Wang Kai Occupation, Chaotic Warrior Realm. Ancient Sage 6th grade Cultivation Method, Daluo Metal Body, Instant Strike Martial Technique, Void Hand, Spirit Finger Equipment. Chaos Sky Swallowing Halberd the Power of God, Level 4 Pupil Technique. X-Ray Bragging Points, 440 Experience, 09000 into 6th grade Ancient Sage. Even if I rely on the Chaos Sky Swallowing Halberd and Daluo Metal Body to double my combat power, I'm only invincible in the Ancient Sage realm. It will be difficult for me to deal with Bai Yu after she releases the seal. Wang Kai furrowed his brows and could not help but sigh inwardly. He urged his mind to close the system page and looked at the distant horizon. They came so quickly. Chapter 1007. Who's here? Who is it? F*CK. It's that B*TCH. The Dog King immediately started barking when heard this. It looked at the distant sky and saw the figure that was rapidly approaching. It was so scared that it immediately retracted the black fog around it and hid behind Wang Kai. The Dog King would not be afraid if he was facing a normal martial artist. However, the Dog King had to admit that he was no match for a peerless gray gem gambling master, or even higher. "Why are you so timid? Go to the front and welcome Ben Xiao. Also, you got so many spirit quenches from the Shengyue Stone Gambling Workshop. Why didn't you swallow them all? Once you reach the Holy Spirit level, won't you be a F*King? Ahem, won't you be a dog?" Wang Kai shrugged and said speechlessly, "Master, you don't want these spirit quenches? You're giving them all to me?" The Dog King was overjoyed when he heard that. He didn't even wait for Wang Kai's response. He rode the black fog forward and yelled at the sky. B*TCH, have you washed yourself clean? Are you here to receive grass? Wang Kai's mouth twitched and his face darkened. He did not expect the Dog King to be such a F*King dog. Leave the Chaos Spirit Quenches Stone that contains the true spirit of heaven and earth and the Holy Spirit. You can swallow the rest, Wang Kai said with a darkened face. The Prince of Dogs can't tell which one contains the true spirit of heaven and earth and the Holy Spirit. Then don't eat them. Wait for Ben Xiao to finish before you eat them. Wang Kai shrugged and said impatiently, He thought that the Dog King was not good at anything other than relying on his master's power. To Wang Kai, he was more like a husky than a teddy. He only knew how to bark and had no skills or guts. Are you really a husky? Suddenly, Wang Kai frowned and stared at the black fog hiding behind him. Judging from all the signs, the Dog King knew how to destroy things, was very pretentious, and was also very good at barking. However, he was very timid, just like a husky. What kind of dog is a husky? I don't know about the Prince of Dogs, but the Prince of Dogs is definitely the best. The Dog King said proudly. The most powerful one. Wang Kai was full of disdain. With his self-proclaimed Dog King hide in the back. Wang Kai, hand over that stupid dog. Wang. At the same time, Baiyu slowly descended from the sky. Her beautiful eyes were filled with anger as she stared at Wang Kai. He was furious at the Dog King's scolding just now. If not for Elder Bai's warning and reminder, he would have broken the seal and stewed the Dog King. Do you think I'll hand it over just because you said so? You have to look at the owner before beating the dog. Moreover, the owner of the Prince of Dogs is the most powerful person in the primordial realm and the entire origin continent. Before Wang Kai could respond, the Dog King hiding in the back spoke first. His tone was full of arrogance. Give Ben Shao a holy spirit and take this dog away immediately. Ben Shao won't stop you. Wang Kai said with a dark expression. Woof, woof, woof. Master, you don't treat the Prince of Dogs as a dog at all. This isn't a dog at all. It's so weak. The Dog King suddenly barked loudly in panic. He even avoided Wang Kai in fear and shrank into the room. Not a dog at all. Does that mean it's not a dog at all? The corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard this. He was really shocked by the Dog King. I don't have a holy spirit. I only have 2 primordial energies of heaven and earth. If you have the ability to activate them, I can give them to you. However, you have to leave that stupid dog to me, Baiyu said with a frown. Her beautiful eyes were filled with murderous intent. It was certain that once Wang Kai agreed, Baiyu would definitely chop the Dog King into pieces and stew him without hesitation. Master, you have to think twice. It's fine if you use a holy spirit to exchange with the Prince of Dogs, but it's useless for 2 primordial energies of heaven and earth that haven't been activated yet. Moreover, even if Master's magic power is strong enough to activate them, the Prince of Dogs is sure that their cultivation is definitely not as high as the Prince of Dogs. The Dog King panicked when he saw that Baiyu was actually using 2 primordial energies of heaven and earth to exchange. That's not necessarily true. My 2 primordial energies of heaven and earth can be ranked in the top 5 in the Divine Stone territory. They haven't been activated yet, because they haven't found a fated person yet. Baiyu's beautiful face was cold as she angrily rebuked. The primordial energies of heaven and earth that were ranked in the top 5 in the Divine Stone territory? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. He couldn't help but feel an itch in his heart. He really wanted to see how strong the primordial energies of heaven and earth that were ranked in the top 5 would be after they were activated. She's bragging. Master, you mustn't believe her. Once the Prince of Dogs reaches the level of a Holy Spirit, he will definitely become the strongest Holy Spirit in the entire origin continent. You won't be able to find anyone stronger than the Prince of Dogs. When that time comes, even a God-level gem gambler won't be able to do anything to the Prince of Dogs. The Dog King shouted in panic when he saw that Wang Kai was really tempted. He even had the thought of running away. Why are you in such a hurry? Will Ben Shao do that kind of business? You have to remember that with your master, there will only be profit. There will never be a loss or an equal transaction. Do you understand? Wang Kai shrugged and said with a rather indifferent smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. What do you mean? Baiyu frowned when she heard this. She stared at Wang Kai with her beautiful eyes and suddenly had a bad feeling. Hee. I'm afraid that my young friend Wang wants to take the 2 primordial energies of heaven and earth for himself. Elder Bai smiled faintly and slowly descended from the sky. He nodded at Wang Kai with a gentle smile. You won't hand over that stupid dog, and at the same time, you want me to give you the 2 primordial energies of heaven and earth? Are you dreaming? Bayou's beautiful eyes narrowed as she spoke in a rather cold and disdainful tone. Who are you calling a stupid dog? Let me tell you, the Prince of Dogs has been tolerating you for a long time. Hurry up and hand over the two primordial energies of heaven and earth. Otherwise, when you anger the master of the Prince of Dogs, not only will you not be able to keep anything, even you will be thrown onto the bed by the master of the Prince of Dogs and ruthlessly kid. In an instant, the Dog King immediately recovered his strength and went directly to Wong Kai's side. He urged the black fog to condense into the appearance of a dog's head. He stared at Wong Kai with his fierce eyes and scolded him repeatedly. Damn, it's really a husky? Is this your true appearance? Seeing this scene, Wong Kai immediately stood up in shock and looked at the dog's head condensed from the black fog. That appearance, that fierce gaze, wasn't a husky? Master, the Prince of Dogs is called Teddy, not a husky. This is indeed the true appearance of the Prince of Dogs. Isn't it handsome enough? When a Prince of Dogs transforms, he'll be even more handsome. It's all fake now. The Dog King grinned proudly. Although it was condensed from the black fog, when it smiled, coupled with the fierce gaze, it was really unflattering. Chapter 1008. What's the difference between real and fake? A husky is a husky. Wong Kai was speechless as he shrugged his shoulders. He finally understood that the Dog King, who called himself Teddy, was a husky. A real husky. No wonder he was so timid and had Teddy's perverted nature. What kind of dog is a husky? Is it awesome? Is it worthy of the supreme aura of the Prince of Dogs? The Dog King asked in a strange tone. The Dog King had never heard of any of the names Wong Kai mentioned. However, for Wong Kai to mention a name, the Dog King believed that it was definitely not a simple person. After all, as soon as the owner's name was mentioned, the entire town would fight for it. No one dared to stop them. A husky is awesome. It doesn't need to do anything. It just needs to stand there and look up. That's enough to make people tremble in fear. Wong Kai grinned and said casually, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Hearing the prompt, Wong Kai's brows suddenly twisted. His face was extremely gloomy as he urged his mind to ask, Is this King bragging? I'm talking about a husky. What does that have to do with Ben Shao? Host, as long as you say something that is unrealistic, it will be judged as bragging. Well then, from now on, the Prince of Dogs will be called Hardy. Yes, it's very domineering and awesome. Wahahaha. As he spoke, the Dog King laughed in satisfaction. His laughter caused the husky's face, which was formed from the black fog, to change shape. It looked really stupefying. Hardy, Husky Teddy, did you choose the last two words? No, that's too low class. How could you choose the last two words? You should have chosen the first two words. Wong Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled playfully. The first two words? Hearing this, the Dog King's face froze. He asked uncertainly, Master, do you want me to call you Urtai? It doesn't sound good. It sounds like a second child. Poochie. When these words were spoken, regardless of whether it was Wong Kai or the furious Bayou, all of them could not help but laugh out loud. Even the corners of Elder Bai's mouth twitched, and she nearly burst out laughing on the spot. This Dog King was too weird, and too unbearable. Coupled with his strange appearance, he looked like a fiend at first glance. When his emotions changed, his dog face would be especially funny. It was simply amazing. No. It shouldn't be Urtai. It should be Iota Towery. This was very awesome. The first word, ha ha ha. When Wong Kai finished speaking, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. It was really unbearable. Iota Towery. Whoosh. In response, Bayou and Elder Bai could not help but look at each other. Wong Kai and the Dog King were indeed master and servant. Bitch, why are you laughing? What's wrong with Iota Towery? What's wrong with Urtai? Damn it. The Prince of Dogs will be called Hardy from now on. His scientific name will be Urtai, and his nickname will be Iota Towery. What's wrong? You don't like it? Do you have a problem with it? The Dog King's tone was extremely cold as he continued to roar. The dog face that he condensed kept changing. Every appearance was extremely strange and amusing. Good name. I've decided not to cause trouble for you. You should be thankful for your name. It really suits you. Bayu's long, shapely eyebrows moved slightly as she covered her face with her slender, jade-like hands. Her smile was extremely charming. The cold appearance from before had completely disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by a seductive appearance that could enchant all living things. Wang Kai wasn't the only one who couldn't take it. Even the Dog King started to snort. If not for Bayu's true abilities, the Dog King would definitely have forcefully pressed her to the ground and fiercely locked her in place. That won't do. Your two heaven and earth true essences. This young master is determined to take them. Now you have to think carefully. Will you obediently hand them over, or do you want this young master to personally take them? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a rather playful smile. Whoosh! Hearing this, Bayu was not angry at all. Instead, she flipped her jade-like hand and directly threw a golden box to Wang Kai. Her voice was rather seductive as she said, Here, take it. It's just two heavenly essences. In my clan, the Shengyuan has many of them. Patter. After Wang Kai received the golden box and opened it, he was surprised to see two stone statues inside. One was a tiger and the other was a dragon. However, now was not the time to activate them. Instead, Bayu's words attracted Wang Kai's surprised attention. In your clan, there are many Xingyuan? Is this true? Could it be that he was bragging to this young master? Just now, when I asked you to take these two heavenly essences, you treated them like treasures and were very unwilling to give them to me. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked with a strange smile. I didn't treat them like treasures just now. As long as you hand over the Dog King's life to me, I will naturally give these two heavenly essences to you. However, I am very happy now, so I won't take the Dog King's life. If you want the heavenly essences, I'll give them to you. It doesn't matter. As she spoke, Bayu once again laughed coquettishly. As she laughed, her enchanting body swayed nonstop, and her chest trembled nonstop. Is your clan in the so-called stone god territory? Wang Kai shrugged and pretended to be casual as he asked. Wang Kai, who had many Shengyuan, could not pretend that he did not hear this matter. Based on his current cultivation, as long as he bragged a few more times, as long as he did not go to the central region, he could completely dominate any region. Since that was the case, Wang Kai naturally would not let the Xingyuan go. That's right. Why? Do you want to go to my clan and steal the Xingyuan? I advise you to stop dreaming. In the stone god territory, there are sages and sages. Moreover, they are at the peak of the 9th grade sage realm. With just your stupid dog, Iota Towery, you won't be able to establish yourself there. Bayu laughed disdainfully. Stupid dog, Iota Towery. Woof, woof, woof. Bitch, the Prince of Dogs will tear you apart one day. The Dog King roared furiously. In response, Bayu was not angry at all. She did not even have the intention to respond to him. Instead, she stared at Wang Kai and suddenly scolded in a cold voice. Don't tell me you're really thinking of taking advantage of my clan? No, I wouldn't dare. Although the Dog King is at the peak of the 9th grade sage realm, in the stone god territory where stoners are everywhere, he won't be able to do much. In that case, Bin Xiao will naturally not go. Wang Kai shrugged and waved his hand playfully. Bayu frowned when she heard this, and her beautiful eyes flashed rapidly. Originally, she wanted to use this opportunity to lure Wang Kai to the stone god territory, and then think of a way to discuss the alliance. However, who would have thought that Wang Kai would not dare to go when they were so close to success? Chapter 1009. No. With his character, how could he admit defeat? It seems that he has guessed my intention, so he deliberately changed the topic. After thinking for a while, Bayu suddenly sneered disdainfully. Just as she said, Wang Kai, who had always been arrogant, would not diminish her prestige. Once she saw him diminishing her prestige, she had to be careful, because there must be a trap. What a pity! If you had gone to the Stone Divine Realm with my recommendation, you might have been able to enter my clan. Once you show your great talent and aptitude, the elders of my clan may even reward you with a Saint Chi, Bayu said with a casual smile. Whoosh! As soon as she said this, Wang Kai suddenly frowned. He was very curious just now. Why did this woman want to seduce him? Now, she actually wanted to help him enter her clan. After all this time, it turned out that she had already made up her mind to recruit him to the Godstone territory. Family matters? She wants to join forces with Ben Xiao to help her deal with her family? After thinking for a while, Wang Kai could not help but think of what he had heard before. After the Dog King ran away, everything that Bai Yu and Elder Bai said, "Ha, little girl, you don't have to beat around the bush with Ben Xiao. If you want to join forces with Ben Xiao, just say it. As long as the benefits are big enough, Ben Xiao will agree to help you." Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Whoosh! Bai Yu's beautiful brows raised when she heard this. Her beautiful eyes stared at Wang Kai as she laughed with disdain in her heart. Sure enough, it was as she had expected. He had guessed her intentions since the beginning. Now that he chose to be frank, did he not intend to hide it anymore and wanted to obtain benefits more directly? Yes, if you can join forces with me, I will give you half of the 73 Shun Yuan in the clan. Of course, the prerequisite is that you can help me take control of the entire clan. Bai Yu's beautiful eyes narrowed as she spoke with a solemn expression. Control the entire clan. A clan with an expert at the peak of the 9th grade sage realm. Wang Kai could not help but grin. He secretly thought that Bai Yu's evaluation of him was really high. Even an expert at the peak of the 9th grade sage realm was not Ben Xiao's opponent. Why didn't he know about this? Although it was not difficult to reach the sage realm and dominate the sage realm, it was not something that could be done casually. If he wanted to brag, wouldn't he be vomiting blood if he continued to brag? In Wang Kai's opinion, slowly wandering the mortal world, bragging, pretending to be fierce, picking up girls to kill people, was the most satisfying thing. Wouldn't it be boring to brag until he was invincible? This is not difficult for Ben Xiao. He is merely at the peak of the 9th grade sage realm. As long as Ben Xiao is willing, he can kill him at any time. It's just that half is too little. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points." So he was not afraid of an expert at the sage realm. Bai Yu's pretty eyes hardened when she heard this. She involuntarily glanced at Elder Bai beside her. When she saw Elder Bai gently nodding his head, she finally spoke. "How much do you want?" In the Sacred Stone territory, there are only 200 Shun Yuan that have been opened. Our clan has 73 Shun Yuan. That is the limit. You can't let our clan not survive in the Sacred Stone territory, right? Survive? Survive what? Wang Kai shrugged and flicked his finger. He said disdainfully, "There are so many Shun Yuan and no one can activate them. In that case, why not give them to Ben Xiao? With Ben Xiao's power, he can easily activate all the Shun Yuan. It will only take a moment." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. This is not a matter of activating or not. The number of Shun Yuan that one has is a measure of a clan's power and status. Our clan has 73 Shun Yuan, and we are ranked second. The number 1 clan has 101 Shun Yuan. The remaining Shun Yuan are owned by some stone-bedding shops and powerful rogue cultivators. Bai Yu frowned and explained in a low voice. By giving half of the Shun Yuan to Wang Kai, the clan was already in danger of being shaken by others. If they gave it all to Wang Kai, once the news of Xing Yuan's disappearance spread, the entire clan would definitely collapse. Ben Xiao really doesn't understand. What does the number of Shun Yuan have to do with the ranking? As long as one is strong enough, isn't it fine? If worst comes to worst, this young master will just have to show his power and scatter that number 1 family. It just so happens that this young master will take all of those 100 or so Saint Cheese. Wang Kai shrugged and said proudly, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th stage ancient sage realm. Destroy the number 1 clan of the Sacred Stone territory." Hearing such bold words, Bai Yu's beautiful eyes suddenly rippled with extraordinary splendor. If Wang Kai could really do that, It would be fine to give him all of the Xingyuan, as long as the number 1 clan disappeared. With the strength of the Bai clan, even without Shenyuan, they could still dominate the Sacred Stone territory. Otherwise, if Shenyuan lost too much under the suppression of the number 1 clan, the Bai clan would definitely be kicked out of the game. If you can do it, whether it is the 101 Shenyuan of the number 1 clan, the Shi clan, or the 73 Shenyuan of my Bai clan, you can take them all. Bai Yu said in a low voice with a serious expression. What do you mean by give them all? Those Xingyuan obviously belong to Ben Shao, okay? It's just that Ben Shao felt that it was too much, so he temporarily left them with your Bai clan and the so-called number 1 clan. Wang Kai curled his lips and said with disdain, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points." Shameless. Hearing this, Bai Yu was instantly filled with disdain. If not for the fact that she needed Wang Kai's help, she would definitely have turned around and left immediately. She really did not want to live in the same space as him. "Okay, they are all yours. In that case, can we set off now?" Bai Yu pursed her red lips and stared at Wang Kai as she asked. With such an opportunity, Bai Yu naturally would not let it go. The sooner she took control of the entire clan, the better. "Wang Kai, don't forget our promise." Whoosh! Before Wang Kai could respond, he saw Yi Shu, whose face was pale and weak, walk in with an ice-cold gaze. Naturally, he had heard everything that had just been said. When she saw that Wang Kai had actually agreed to Bai Yu's request so easily and even wanted to immediately go to the Stone God Reign, she felt extremely unhappy. "Who is she? Your wife?" Bai Yu blinked her beautiful eyes and asked curiously. She was also very surprised. She had not expected that Wang Kai actually had a wife. What kind of woman would be able to tolerate such a strange Wang Kai? "Oh, she's not Ben Shao's wife. She is just a concubine. The 99,999th concubine. The last one. She does not have a good life." Wang Kai waved his hand and said casually, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points." Chapter 10:10. Bastard. "Wang Kai, don't spout nonsense. There is nothing between us." "Oh, what did you just say? Say it again." Swoosh. Before Yi Shu could finish her sentence, Wang Kai shouted playfully. At the same time, he secretly transmitted a message to her. "Say that you are Ben Shao's concubine now. Otherwise, Ben Shao will go back on his word." Yi Shu almost fainted when she heard this message. She did not expect him to be so shameless. She wanted to reject him angrily, but her heart resisted instinctively. If Wang Kai went back on his word and did not go to the fire region, then the sun-shooting bow, how could she allow the inheritance treasure to fall into someone else's hands? Yi Shu narrowed her red lips as she thought of this. She looked to the side and said awkwardly, "Yes, I am his concubine. The concubine who does not have a good life." By the time he finished speaking, he was already gnashing his teeth. It was easy to imagine how angry she was right now. Ben Shao did not ask you to say that you do not have a good life. Do you really not have a good life?" Wang Kai frowned and asked in surprise. What an interesting concubine. Come, let's sister take a good look at you. You're such a beautiful lady. Why are you wearing men's clothes?" Just as Yi Shu was feeling embarrassed and angry, Bai Yu put on a seductive look and waved her hand to greet her. "Wang, call me husband." Yi Shu did not even look at Bai Yu. She stared at Wang Kai and was about to speak when he interrupted her. Her face stiffened and she could not hide the anger in her heart. Husband, when are we going to the fire region?" Yi Shu asked in a trembling voice. After she finished speaking, she seemed to heave a sigh of relief. "Fire region? Is it the Fire Sea region that is rumored to have 9 divine arrows?" Before Wang Kai could respond, Bai Yu suddenly exclaimed. Her beautiful eyes widened as if she had heard something unbelievable. Regarding this, both Wang Kai and Yi Shu, who did not want to bother with her, furrowed their brows. 9 divine arrows? Is that so? Wang Kai frowned and looked at Yi Shu in surprise. Although he guessed that the so-called 9 divine arrows might be the sun-shooting arrows used by Ho-E, who knew how many divine arrows there were in the chaotic realm. That's right. What are you trying to say? Ishu frowned as she stared at Baiyu. Her expression was extremely cold as she asked. In her opinion, Baiyu's appearance had completely disrupted her plans. Oh, if it's the Fire Sea region, you don't have to bother. You can go to the Stone Divine region directly, Baiyu said with a faint smile. Whoosh! Ishu's expression changed as soon as she heard this. Her expression became even colder as she berated. What nonsense are you talking about? Impudent. You're just a little girl in the almighty realm. Where did you get the courage to speak to me like that? Even if you've fallen to the almighty realm, you don't have the right to speak to me like that. Baiyu's eyes turned cold as she reprimanded with murderous intent. As a woman, how could she allow herself to be treated coldly by the other party? You're the impudent one. How dare you speak to Bencheo's concubine like that? Although she doesn't have a good life, she's still Bencheo's concubine. Even if your cultivation is sealed, you're still in the sage realm. You don't have the right to act tough in front of Bencheo's concubine. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and snorted with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Both Baiyu and the enraged Ishu glared coldly at Wang Kai. Even though Ishu knew very well that Wang Kai was speaking up for her, calling her a concubine who doesn't have a good life was too unbearable. That's enough. The two of you stop talking nonsense. Benchao was just bragging. Tell me, what's the relationship between the Fire region and the Divine Stone territory? Wang Kai waved his hand and said impatiently. Bragging was just bragging. Upon hearing this, Baiyu and Ishu, as well as the silent elder Bai, turned their heads speechlessly. They were completely convinced by Wang Kai. Woof, woof, woof. Master is indeed a dog. However, he shouldn't have bragged just now. He should have bragged a dog. The Dog King's voice was full of admiration. His corrective tone and words caused Wang Kai's face to darken. Scram. Remember, dog. Only you can say that. You're not allowed to say it to anyone else. Furthermore, if you spout any more nonsense, Ben Shao will immediately chop you up and stew you. Wang Kai said angrily with a darkened face. Woof, woof, woof. Master, the Prince of Dogs understands what you mean. Thank you for your recognition and humility. In this world, only the Prince of Dogs is the most dog. The Dog King exclaimed proudly. Humility, recognition. The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched violently. He didn't expect the Dog King to be so obsessed with the title of dog. He actually thought that Wang Kai was the only dog in the world. As expected of master and servant, Baiyu pursed her red lips and smiled. In response, Ishu let out a muffled snort. Her indescribable expression was undoubtedly expressing her approval. Tell me, what's the deal with the Fire region and the Divine Stone territory? Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently. At the same time, Ishu also stared at her, waiting for her answer. As someone from the Fire Sea region, he had never heard of them having anything to do with the Stone God realm. The Fire region has already been taken to the Divine Stone territory by the Fire Xingyuan spirit in order to make the Fire region his own backyard. Oh, the Fire Xingyuan spirit is a holy spirit that was activated in the Divine Stone territory. In his opinion, the Divine Stone territory is his home, and the Fire region is his backyard. After Baiyu gave a simple explanation of what had happened, Wang Kai and Ishu were both stunned upon hearing her explanation. The Fire Xingyuan spirit, a holy spirit, was actually so powerful that it could take a territory to the Divine Stone territory. At the same time, Wang Kai couldn't help but wonder how big the Divine Stone territory was. How could it contain the Fire region? Or could it be that the Fire region was really small? It shouldn't be where Ho-E was. Impossible. Don't talk nonsense over there. The 9 divine arrows of the Fiery Sea region landed all over the Fiery Sea region after they were shot down 9 days ago, with the divine arrows suppressing them. Unless a great sage personally makes a move, no one can destroy the Fiery Sea region. Ishu scolded coldly. She already thought that Baiyu was lying. She just wanted Wang Kai to go to the Divine Stone territory first. He was causing trouble from the very beginning. Humph, I don't know if the 9 divine arrows have ever been shot or how powerful they are. I only know that the fire Xingyuan spirit is an ancient holy sage. Although it's not as powerful as the great sage, it's still the strongest under the great sage. Baiyu pursed her red lips and snorted disdainfully. Chapter 10:11. The Ancient Sage. The fire Xingyuan spirit was a Shenyuan formed from the chaos spirit quenching stone. After it was activated, it would become a holy spirit. It was the ancient sage realm, the strongest realm below the great sage realm. Wang Kai's eyes lit up when he heard that. He was extremely excited and wanted to obtain a large amount of Shenyuan to activate it. When that time came, even if an ancient sage holy spirit appeared, it would be extremely powerful. Woof, woof, woof. Master, you can't listen to her bullshit. The Prince of Dogs is certain that within the vital energy of heaven and earth, the Prince of Dogs is the strongest when he reaches the peak of the 9th grade sage realm. Moreover, when the Prince of Dogs reaches the Holy Spirit potential, he will become an ancient sage Holy Spirit. The Dog King saw that Wang Kai was excited and felt a strong sense of danger. If Wang Kai opened another Holy Spirit, it would be fine if it was weaker than the Dog King. If it was stronger, wouldn't the Dog King lose his position as the first servant? Get lost. She's talking about the Shenyuan. It has nothing to do with your vital energy of heaven and earth, Wang Kai said with a dark face. Woof, woof, woof. The Shenyuan is not that easy to activate. Even if it's activated, it's very likely that the gemstone gambler will lose his lifespan and die on the spot. Even if he's lucky, he'll lose 90% of his lifespan, losing 900 years of his lifespan in one go. Master, can you do that? The Dog King continued to shout. The dog head formed by the black fog changed into a serious look. However, the serious look on the husky's face was not convincing at all. Instead, it made people feel that he was talking nonsense. He is right. Activating a Holy Spirit will consume a large amount of lifespan. It may even cause death. Don't trust others so easily. Otherwise, you will die when you obtain the Shenyuan, Ishu suddenly said in a deep voice. After she finished speaking, she looked coldly at Baiyu. He really knew how to do it? Upon hearing this, Wang Kai's brows immediately furrowed. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Baiyu with an extremely unfriendly expression. He grinned coldly and said, "You little girl, you've really planned things out well. First, you've gotten Ben Shao to help you, and then you've used Sheng Yuan to kill Ben Shao. TSK, brilliant, truly brilliant. Ignorant. Elder Bai, why don't you tell them?" However, Baiyu didn't care at all. Instead, she looked down on Wang Kai and the others. She didn't even want to explain herself. Are you going to start cheating again? Activating the Xing Yuan will reduce one's lifespan by 90%. That is absolutely true. Ishu sneered. That's not necessarily true. Elder Bai stroked his beard and said indifferently. 100 years ago, activating the Xing Yuan would indeed reduce one's lifespan by 90%. Most people would even die on the spot. If it were my Bai family or the internal members of the number 1 family, they would definitely be able to reduce one's lifespan by 1 year every time they activate it. Why are you looking at me like that? Halfway through her words, Baiyu felt goosebumps all over her body from Wang Kai's strange gaze. She didn't even have the courage to continue lying. Continue with your nonsense. Ben Shao wants to see if you can make it up to the sky. Little girl, I'm afraid that you're destined to die here today. If you want Ben Shao to help you, you must sleep with Ben Shao for a night first. Otherwise, there's no need to talk. Iota Towery, send the guests out. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and snorted with disdain. How dare they plot against him? Although he had the system and didn't need to be punished by heaven and earth, it wasn't a pleasant thing to be plotted against. He still had to deal with them. Woof, woof, woof. Did you hear that? My master told you to get lost. Don't let the bullshit Prince of Dogs do it himself. Do you understand? The Dog King snorted arrogantly, causing the dog head formed from the fog to glare and bare its teeth. I'm telling the truth. Let's go back first. Just as Bai Yu bit her red lips and was about to explain, Elder Bai waved his hand to stop her and shook his head slightly. Elder Bai naturally didn't approve of Bai Yu's scheme against Wang Kai. After all, Wang Kai's talent was too strong and his background was too mysterious. If they weren't careful, they would definitely be defeated. When that time came, even if they wanted to regret it, it would be too late. Oh, that's right. Ben Xiao only gave you 2 hours to think about it. You could discuss it outside for now. If you don't want to join forces with Ben Xiao, then go down the mountain. If you want Ben Xiao's help, then come to Ben Xiao's room. Knock on the door yourself. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a smile. Whoosh! Bai Yu's delicate figure suddenly trembled when she heard this, and her eyes were filled with panic. At this moment, she was filled with regret. She regretted deceiving Wang Kai. Chapter 10:12. Are you really going to take that shameless and despicable woman into your room? In the room, Ishu frowned. Her eyes were filled with disdain as she looked at Wang Kai. At the end of the day, all men were the same. They coveted beauty and were completely different in front of others. However, Ishu could not help but look at Wang Kai in a different light. He was a complete lecher, whether in front of others or behind others' backs. What do you know? What's wrong? Are you jealous? If that's the case, you don't have to think too much. Strip naked now and occupy Ben Xiao's peerless body. Come on. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and slowly stretched out his arms with a playful smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 8th grade ancient sage realm. Buzz. With that, Wang Kai secretly used his X-ray vision to scan Ishu's delicate body. With one look, his blood started to boil. Every part of her body was perfect. He could not stop even if he wanted to. Wang Kai, don't forget our agreement. As long as you give me the sun shooting bow now, I'm willing to agree to any unreasonable request of yours. Ishu pursed her red lips and said stiffly. For someone like Wang Kai, she could only use this to get the sun shooting bow as soon as possible. Otherwise, there would be unforeseen circumstances. Oh sure, Wang Kai, who was in the middle of admiring her, did not understand what she was saying at all. He almost subconsciously nodded his head in agreement. His pair of eyes rolled around her body. He looked at her from the top to the bottom, then from the bottom to the top. In the end, he stood up and walked around her back to look at her perky breasts. Suddenly, blood spurted out from Wang Kai's nose. Perhaps he was too engrossed in looking, or perhaps it was because her body was too alluring. What are you doing? Ishu hurriedly turned around and took a few steps back. Only now did she realize that there was something wrong with Wang Kai's gaze. It was the gaze of a disgusting man. One look was enough to make people feel disgusted. No, nothing. I was just looking at your figure. It's really not bad, really great. Even Ben Xiao wants to press you to the ground and ravage you. TSK. Wang Kai subconsciously grinned, revealing the look of a pervert. Especially now that Ishu had purposely pressed her legs together, it was exceptionally wonderful. Shameless. Bang. Ishu could no longer endure Wang Kai's fiery gaze. She coldly snorted in disgust and quickly pushed open the door to leave. If she knew that Wang Kai had just used his X-ray vision, what would she think? F***CK, did I get too engrossed? Looks like I have to restrain myself. The sound of the door slamming shut caused Wang Kai to regain his senses. Looking at Ishu's back, he could not help but rub his nose, blinked his eyes, and retracted his X-ray vision. Woof, woof, woof. Master, did you get it just now? That girl's figure is not bad. If Master did not take a fancy to her, the Prince of Dogs would have already taken her down. At the same time, the Dog King, who had been waiting outside for a long time, barked nonstop as he floated into the room. Get what? Ben Xiao has always been very pure, okay? How can he casually have sex with a girl? Even if she is interested in Ben Xiao should still be reserved, right? Is this body something that just anyone can do? Wang Kai shrugged and said with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. That's true. Even the Prince of Dogs is so F asterisk ket up. Master, you're even more F asterisk ket up. With this kind of physical strength, you should be matched with the 3 female giant at the back of the mountain. You would definitely be able to F asterisk CK them until they are flat on their backs and dehydrated. As he spoke, the Dog King's condensed dog head had already opened its mouth. That evil smile and cramped appearance were really unbearable to look at. F asterisk ket up, dog. Such a supreme compliment can only be used on you. Do you understand? If you mention Ben Shao again, I will immediately send you to the back of the mountain and have some fun with the 3 female giant. Wang Kai frowned and said with a dark expression, "Whoosh." Hearing this, the Dog King was so scared that he didn't dare to say anything else. Even the condensed dog head disappeared without a trace. If he was really sent to the back of the mountain, he wouldn't end up playing with the female giant, but being played by the female giant. "Where's that by you?" Wang Kai asked indifferently with his hands behind his back. After using his X-ray vision to spy on Yishu, he couldn't control himself anymore. If Baiyu really chose to join forces with him, she would rather give up her body. Based on her current state, she would definitely be ruthlessly ravaged. She's still outside. I don't know what she's discussing. She wants the Prince of Dogs to watch. Master, you can just do it. What's done can't be undone. Everything can be discussed easily. Do you have to be so passive right now? The Dog King's tone was full of disdain. If Baiyu hadn't sealed her powerful strength, the Dog King would have taken her down long ago. Perhaps Wang Kai wouldn't even have had to do it. After all, it was Wang Kai who ordered the Dog King to go. Passive? Since when was this young master in a passive situation? This is called strategizing. He also has the restraint that a man should have. Do you understand? As the Dog King, you should also have this kind of restraint. Learn from Ben Shao in the future. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. This dog's hit bragging. The Dog King was full of disdain, but he didn't dare to express it directly. Instead, he huffed and said, "Master is right. Master is the most dog's hit. Cough, cough. Master is the most powerful. Wang Kai, the Sea of Fire has indeed been transferred to the Divine Stone Domain. It's up to you to believe it or not. Also, regarding the matter of us joining forces, we'll talk about it when you reach the Divine Stone Domain." Whoosh! As Baiyu's voice suddenly rang out, a black streak of light flew into the courtyard. Patter! Wang Kai flipped his hand and caught it. Before he could see what it was, Baiyu and Elder Bai both stepped into the air and left. It's over. The meat that was in our hands flew away. How are we going to make Ruji ammo? Master, even the Prince of Dogs is looking down on you. Actually, you should have forcefully taken her long ago. The Dog King was speechless. Ruji ammo. The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard this. He couldn't be bothered to care about Baiyu, who had left. He looked at the black token in his hand. There was no other information on it, except for the word by Ishu. You should have heard it, right? The Sea of Fire has been transferred to the Divine Stone Domain. If you believe it, we can go directly to the Divine Stone Domain. If you don't, we can go to the Sea of Fire. Wang Kai flipped his hand and put away the token as he looked at the entrance of the courtyard. Chapter 10:13. Her words can't be trusted. As expected, Yishu had indeed been hiding by the courtyard door the entire time. Her purpose was naturally to monitor Wang Kai, in case something really happened between him and Baiyu, and then follow her directly to the Stone God domain. Can't be trusted? If that's the case, what should we do if something goes wrong when we return to the Stone Divine realm from the Fire Sea realm? Wang Kai asked casually with narrowed eyes. Something goes wrong? Yishu frowned. If the Sea of Fire had really been moved to the Divine Stone territory, the Yi clan would have undergone a drastic change. After all, the Yi clan was the most powerful clan in the Sea of Fire. If the entire territory had been moved, it was impossible for the Yi clan to not show up. Once they showed up, they would have to face the ancient sage, Fire Xingyuan spirit. Impossible. Everything she said was definitely a lie. Only the Central Territory has an ancient sage realm expert. The Divine Stone Territory definitely doesn't have one. It's impossible to awaken such a powerful divine spirit. As she thought about it, Yeshu had already subconsciously rejected such guesses. Since that's the case, let's make preparations and head to the Sea of Fire. I only hope that you won't regret it when the time comes. Wang Kai shrugged and said casually, "Woof, woof, woof. The Prince of Dogs thinks that you should go to the Divine Stone Territory to take a look. It's not impossible to awaken a Xingyuan spirit. There's bound to be one in 10,000. The Dog King said in a rare, serious tone. Yeshu's frown deepened. If the Divine Stone Territory was lucky enough to awaken an ancient sage, fire, Xingyan spirit, a fire-based divine spirit would naturally prefer an environment like the Sea of Fire. Promise me that once we reach the Divine Stone Territory, if the things by you said don't happen, we'll head to the Sea of Fire immediately. We can't fall in her trap and still have to help her." Yeshu said in a low voice. Snap. Hearing this, Wang Kai snapped his fingers and smiled mockingly. Of course. Bin Xiao also hopes that she's lying to us. When the time comes, Bin Xiao can use this to deal with her. Hee, there aren't many people who would dare to lie to Bin Xiao. Even a master of chaos has to kneel down before him. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Shameless. Yeshu's face was cold and disdainful to the extreme. She secretly thought that only Wang Kai could think of such a despicable scheme. A man can't be called a king if he's not shameless. A dog can't survive if he's not a dog. You don't even understand this, and you want to negotiate with my master? Do you want to end up being ridden by your master? The Dog King shouted in disdain. Ew. As soon as these words were spoken, Yeshu was instantly infuriated as she immediately flipped her slender hand and shouted in a low voice. Flowing flame, buzz, swoosh. In an instant, streaks of red light shot out and wrapped around the black fog that the Dog King was in. Damn, you're a gem gambling master and a peerless grade 1. Master, save me. Seeing this, the Dog King's face turned pale with fright. It cried out in alarm and controlled the black fog to hide behind Wang Kai. Aren't you a peerless dog? Why are you so timid now? Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders speechlessly. Suddenly, he focused his gaze and pointed his finger in the air. Spirit finger. Buzz. Crack. With one point, the streaks of red light were shattered and dissipated. Even Yeshu was pushed back a few steps. She raised her head and looked at Wang Kai in shock. You are a god-level gem gambling master? God level? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this and couldn't help but clench his fists. Smiling indifferently, he said, a god-grade gem gambling master is nothing. This young master is many levels higher than him. Roughly speaking, there should be at least 1,000, right? Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have gained 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Yeshu's eyes darkened. She did not believe Wang Kai's nonsense. However, the point he pointed just now had the power of a god-level gem gambling master. It was hard to imagine that an 18-year-old youth not only had such a high cultivation level, but also such a high level of gem gambling master. Even in the central region, there were no more than 5 geniuses who knew everything. In fact, Wang Kai was one of the 5 geniuses who knew everything. He could be the best of the best. Seeing this, the Dog King snorted proudly in his heart. Master is indeed a god-level gem gambling master. With Master here, we won't have to be afraid of any other gem gambling master in the future. Sect Master, we are back. Suddenly, a loud shout came from afar. The Grand Elder, Black Shadow, and the others descended from the sky with thousands of experts from the realm of Mystic Ghost. Among them, there were dozens of faces that Wang Kai was very familiar with. They were the elders from the realm of Mystic Ghost's palace. However, the realm of Mystic Ghost's realm master was nowhere to be seen. Did you kill him? Wang Kai frowned and asked indifferently. The Grand Elder clasped his hands and said, Sect Master, the realm of Mystic Ghost's realm master has destroyed his cultivation and sent him to live in a village. He didn't kill him. Black Shadow clasped his hands and said with a smile, Sect Master, these experts of the realm of mystic ghost are all willing to follow you so. Wong Kai didn't care about this at all. After a casual glance, he said indifferently, There's no need. Ben Xiao has always been a loner. He doesn't want to join a sect. From now on, the Xianling school will belong to the two of you. Whoosh! Upon hearing this, the Grand Elder and Black Shadow both looked shocked. They never thought that Wong Kai would actually want to quit. Sect Master, what are you doing? Now is the time for the Xianling school to achieve great things. How can you? The Grand Elder shook his head and sighed helplessly. Although he knew that Wong Kai had such thoughts, he didn't expect it to come so soon. In response to this, the black figure by the side remained silent. Just as the Grand Elder thought, everything was correct. Wong Kai didn't have any sense of belonging to the Xianling school. Or rather, the mystic spirit realm couldn't accommodate Wong Kai at all. A genius like Wong Kai should be in the central region. Ben Xiao has made up his mind. But don't worry, after Ben Xiao leaves, he will leave you with a true spirit of heaven and earth. As for what happens to the Xianling school in the future, it's up to you, Wong Kai said calmly with his hands behind his back. His ultimate goal was to return to the Qing Yun starry sky. There were still many women and brothers waiting for him there. A true spirit of heaven and earth. Hearing this, the Grand Elder and Black Shadow's expressions changed slightly. They couldn't help but look at each other, each with different thoughts. Chapter 10:14. Wong Kai pursed his lips and said calmly, Ben Xiao naturally won't let you leave. I just want to ask you, if this origin energy of heaven and earth is activated by Ben Xiao, will he still be loyal to the Xianling school? Yes, Ishu answered without any hesitation and even looked at him with disdain. Oh, that's good then. However, I need you to give him an order. Haha, he's so pitiful. He was just activated and then abandoned by his master. However, just as Wong Kai was feeling relieved, Ishu's voice sounded again. His words caused Wong Kai's mouth to twitch and his brow to furrow. Woof, woof, woof. The Dog King suddenly said, Master, why don't we let these two idiots try it themselves? If they can successfully activate it, then they'll be lucky. If they can't, then we can only say that they're unlucky. As a being activated by the origin energy of heaven and earth, the Dog King naturally didn't want to see his companion abandoned by his master and forced to guard the Xianling domain by himself. Wong Kai might not know this, but the Dog King was very clear about it. Once the origin energy of heaven and earth recognized a master, all it could think about was its master. It would consider all benefits for its master. Even if it was ordered to guard the Xianling domain to its death, the origin energy of heaven and earth would not be happy. Why don't we give it a try? The Grand Elder and Black Shadow were both worried. Without the protection of the origin energy of heaven and earth, it would be impossible to appease the experts of the Xianling domain. Okay, then you can give it a try. Wong Kai frowned and nodded. Since things had come to this was the only way. Otherwise, if he succeeded in activating the origin energy of heaven and earth, he would be labeled as someone who abandoned his subordinates. It would not be good. How do we activate it? The Grand Elder asked doubtfully. Beside him, the black figure also looked at Wong Kai in amazement, waiting for an answer. F*CK, you're not stone gambling masters? Wong Kai's face darkened. He thought that since they had volunteered to try it, they must know how to open stones. But in the end, they didn't even know how to activate it. Oh no, I've heard of stone gambling masters, but activating the origin energy of heaven and earth. The Grand Elder and Black Shadow said awkwardly. They thought's origin energy of heaven and earth with his help, but now it seems like they were thinking too much. What useless fella. You're not a dog at all. Seems like you guys aren't that lucky. I don't want to see the heaven and earth true spirits following the two of you. The Dog King sneered in disdain. This sect leader, the Grand Elder and Black Shadow's hearts trembled when they heard this. If there were no strong cultivators in the sect, then the Xianling school's fate could be imagined. Why don't we take them with us? Whether we go to the Divine Stone territory or the Fiery region, more people will come in handy Ishu suddenly said in a deep voice. The Grand Elder and Black Shadow were very excited. If they could follow Wang Kai, they would be happy to do so. Woof, woof, woof. What's the point of having them follow you? Their cultivation is too weak. They need to be at least Sage Realm to be able to work for Master. Moreover, they can only be errand boys. When it comes to fighting, they are not at all dog's hit. The Dog King said disdainfully. Sage Realm, the Grand Elder and Black Shadow were helpless when they heard this. Even if all of them worked together, they wouldn't be as powerful as a Sage Realm cultivator. Don't you have a lot of spirit quenching? Why don't you use spirit quenching to forcefully raise their cultivation? If you don't want to take them with you, then let them gain strength and be self-reliant, Ishu said calmly. Spirit quenching to forcefully raise one's cultivation? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. He had never heard of this before. It was true that they could use spirit quenching to cultivate, but forcefully raising one's cultivation? That's a good idea. The Prince of Dogs agrees. If you use spirit quenching to forcefully raise one's cultivation, it means that this person's cultivation will stop at this level for the rest of his life. He won't be able to make any further progress. As for whether they want to do this, let them choose for themselves. The Dog King said with a grin as he gloated. Stop at this level for the rest of their lives? The Grand Elder and Black Shadow's expressions changed when they heard this. On the other hand, Ishu's expression was indifferent. She already knew about this before she mentioned this method. Just as the Dog King had said, the choice was up to them. This is all that Ben Xiao can do. Furthermore, you don't have to follow Ben Xiao, Wang Kai said calmly with his hands behind his back. Not to mention that they had no room for improvement. Even if they did, they would only be a burden if they followed him. Then I'll just raise my cultivation. Bastard, why are you only raising yours? The Grand Elder was instantly enraged by Black Shadow's words. Wang Kai was secretly amused by this. It seemed that Black Shadow already had the ambition to be the overlord. Raising his cultivation alone was undoubtedly proof that he would become the domain master of the Xianling domain. Based on your abilities, you are not qualified to be the overlord of the Xianling domain. Otherwise, you wouldn't be ranked third all the time. The Black Shadow said disdainfully. Bastard! The Grand Elder reprimanded angrily. He turned to Wang Kai and cupped his fists. Sect Master, Old Man was the first to secretly. Don't mention this again. Ben Xiao will decide who will be in charge of Xianling School. The two of you will be in charge, Wang Kai said calmly with a shrug. This was a way to repay them for following him to the giant soldier realm and risking their lives. With the two of them in charge, there wouldn't be any rebellions in the future. Sect Master is wise, Black Shadow said with cupped fists. The Grand Elder snorted. Although he didn't want to be in charge with Black Shadow, he had no choice but to agree now that things had come to this. Dog King, it shouldn't be a problem for you to handle this matter, right? Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent expression. The spirit quenching was with the Dog King. Now that he was doing it himself, it would save him a lot of trouble. Master, don't worry. The Prince of Dogs will definitely make them look like dogs, the Dog King said with a cold smile. The Grand Elder and Black Shadow both trembled. However, due to the Dog King's power, they didn't dare to say no. They could only brace themselves and do it. Well, in that case, Ben Xiao will go first. You can catch up later. Wang Kai nodded with a smile. He just needed to send his location to the Dog King. Big guy, we should go. The three female giant will stay in Xianling School as protectors. Rumble. Soon, a trembling sound was heard, and the invisible giant came into view. Chapter 10:15. 7 days later, Wang Kai and Ishu sat on the left and right shoulders of the invisible giant. They relied on the invisible giant to run the whole way. Although its speed was not as fast as Wang Kai's cultivation, it was still extremely fast. Moreover, it could conceal itself in places where there were people. How long until we reach the Divine Stone territory? How many mountains have we crossed? Wang Kai frowned and said impatiently. Indeed, the 7 days of continuous travel was too boring. He didn't know the way to the Divine Stone territory, so Ishu had been leading the way. However, they hadn't reached the destination even after 7 days. The place they were in now was a barren mountain range. It was obviously a godforsaken place. It's all your fault. If we didn't avoid the towns and cities, it would have caused a commotion. Moreover, we're heading to the 100 Formation region this time. We'll be traveling along the borders of the various large regions. Naturally, we'll have to waste more time, Ishu said indifferently. Even though Wang Kai thought it was a little boring, Ishu was happy and carefree. She didn't find it boring at all. Walking along the borders of the major territories? Damn, Bin Xiao was wondering why we weren't there yet. Is it really so troublesome? Besides, why do we have to hide for people? Wang Kai frowned and said speechlessly, "Didn't you say that the invisible giant was too big and would be very conspicuous if we walked through the towns and cities? What's more, it would destroy the innocent flowers and plants." Ishu frowned and said in a displeased tone, "If Wang Kai hadn't said that, would it be so troublesome? Ben Xiao is the civilization of Ben Xiao. They are noble and know how to take care of other people's safety. But if they cause trouble for Ben Xiao, other people can trouble them however they want. What does it have to do with Ben Xiao? Besides, wouldn't it be better to just let the invisible giant remain invisible?" Wang Kai's face darkened as he snorted angrily. "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th stage of the ancient sage realm. Host, Wang Kai occupation, chaotic warrior realm. Ancient sage's 9th grade cultivation method, Daluo metal body, instant open martial skills, void hand, spirit finger equipment, chaos sky devouring halberd the power of God, level 4 ocular technique, X-ray vision bragging points, 720 experience. 1000100000. When Wang Kai heard the system notification and saw the system page appear in his mind, Wang Kai was not in the mood to pay attention to it. He did not even care about the 10,000 EXP he had gained. As long as they don't cause you any trouble, no matter how much trouble they cause you, it's fine. Ishu's heart was filled with disdain after hearing Wang Kai's words. Her beautiful eyes were filled with disgust and disgust. Although she had long known that Wang Kai was despicable and shameless, she hadn't expected him to be so bad. He was really bad to the extreme. He was really bad to the core. "My lord, I can't stay invisible all the time. I can only stay invisible for 3 days and 3 nights at most," the invisible giant said softly, extremely embarrassed. "Me? F***CK." Wang Kai shuddered when he heard this. He finally understood. Not only was the invisible giant a little stupid, but he was also extremely stupid when he was embarrassed. Don't think too much about it. Even if you don't go through the borders of the various regions, it will take at least a few days to travel through the regions. Furthermore, if you enter the 100 Formation region from other regions, you will have to hand over a large amount of spirit tempering. Most importantly, you will need proof of your identity and origin. Ishu said indifferently. Hand over a large amount of spirit tempering? Proof of identity and origin? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. His expression turned even more ashen as he snorted coldly. "Fine, I'll hand it over. Can't Bin Xiao afford it? Furthermore, if Bin Xiao doesn't want to hand it over, who the hell would dare to accept it? As for proof of identity and origin, can't I just take yours? Do we have to book a room for 2? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Book a room? Bastard. What nonsense are you talking about?" Ishu's expression turned cold. She pursed her red lips and scolded him in a tender voice. Whenever she spoke to Wang Kai, she would be involuntarily led into a ditch by him. Now that she had a request, she had no choice but to speak to him. It was extremely sullen. "What are you talking about? At most, you won't need proof of identity and origin. Bin Xiao is such an awesome person. Isn't it easy for him to go anywhere in the origin continent? Who dares to stop him? Who dares to interrogate him? Do you want to die? Damn it. He's like a gangster. I still have to interrogate him. I'm giving him face." Wang Kai's face darkened. His tone was full of disdain as he snorted coldly. It was as if he was releasing all the boredom of the past few days. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Absolutely not. Don't cause trouble. At that time, your reputation will be ruined. Even if you reach the 100 formation territory with your strong cultivation, you will be sent to the end of the continent in an instant by the formation there. At that time, you will have to walk back and even further. Even if you're an expert in the Sage realm, once you reach the end of the continent, it will take you 8 to 10 years to come back, using your cultivation to travel day and night. Think about it carefully. Ishu's expression was extremely serious. Her eyes were full of fear as she warned him repeatedly. At the same time, she secretly broke out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, she had discovered it early. Otherwise, based on what Wang Kai had just said, if they really fought all the way to the 100 formation territory, the consequences would be unimaginable. What the hell? Directly send Ben Xiao to the end of the continent? It will take 8 to 10 years to walk back. Wang Kai was startled when he heard this, a look of astonishment filling his face. That's right. The 100 formation territory is a large teleportation territory. It contains formations that extend in all directions across the entire Genesis continent. You can arrive at any place in a short time. Because of this, there are many formation masters and hidden formation masters inside. That's why there are so many formation masters inside. If you don't have a good reputation, the 100 formation region will definitely not tolerate you. The moment you set foot here, you will definitely be sent to the end of the continent. Ishu frowned and said in a rather cold tone, F***CK, don't you think Ben Xiao is too weak? Don't you know that Ben Xiao is the strongest formation master in the Genesis continent in the chaotic realm? Don't even talk about setting up a formation. No formation can escape this young master's eyes. Moreover, it will break with a breath. Wang Kai shrugged and snorted disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. I really didn't know you were a formation master. Even if you are definitely not as good as you boast. So let's be honest, Ishu said indifferently. Chapter 10:16. Hearing this, Wang Kai almost choked to death on the spot. Ishu seemed to have found a way to deal with him. She could choke on every word he said. How long will it take to reach the 100 formation territory? Ben Xiao will show you what a real array master is. Oh no, a real array breaker. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have unlocked a second profession, array breaker. Host, Wang Kai profession. Chaotic Warrior, Array Breaker Realm. Ancient Sage's 9th grade cultivation method. Daluo Golden Body, Instant Open Martial Technique. Void Hand, Spiritual Finger Equipment. Chaos Sky Swallowing Halberd the Power of God. Level 4 Eye Technique. X-Ray Bragging Points. 800 Experience. 900010000. Hearing this, Wang Kai frowned and glanced at the system page that appeared in front of him. He could clearly see that there was an additional information of Array Breaker after Chaotic Warrior. There really is an Array Breaker? Wang Kai couldn't help but touch his nose. He secretly thought that he was just casually bragging, but he didn't expect that he really became an Array Breaking Master. Host, a real Array Breaker needs to cultivate the art of 10,000 formations, the art of breaking formations, and the eye of formations. However, since you have the Torch Dragon's Eye, you only need to upgrade it to the level of the Chaos Realm. The art of 10,000 formations, the art of breaking formations, and the eye of formations. The Torch Dragon's Eye could be upgraded? Wang Kai grinned and thought to himself that the Torch Dragon's Eye was already impressive enough. If it were to be upgraded to the level of the Chaos Realm, wouldn't it mean that he could summon the wind, rain, lightning, and thunder whenever he breathed or sneezed? Furthermore, he could reverse black and white? What a Array Breaker! I have never heard of it. At the same time, Ishu pursed her lips and sneered disdainfully. He had indeed heard of array masters, and they had an extremely high status in the Genesis continent. For example, although the 100 formation region wasn't much stronger than the other regions, the central region took extra care of them because of their occupation as a formation master. If you haven't heard of it, that's because your hair is long and your knowledge is short. Wang Kai curled his lips and sneered with a rather disdainful expression. Then I'd like to see it. We'll reach the 100 formation region in 10 days. Ishu said indifferently. 10 more days. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai's expression became even more unsightly. They had already traveled for 7 days, and they still needed 10 more days to arrive. Forget it. When Ben Xiao learns how to break the formation, I'll use my cultivation and fight my way to the 100 formations region. Doesn't this little girl think that Ben Xiao doesn't have the ability? Then I'll let her see and increase her favorability. She'll worship Ben Xiao to her heart's content. Wang Kai grinned and thought proudly in his heart. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the rank 1 Sage Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the rank 1 Sage Realm. The power of God has been upgraded to level 5. Host, Wang Kai occupation, Chaotic Warrior, Array Master Realm. Sage First Grade Cultivation Method, Daluo Golden Body, Instant Open Martial Technique, Void Hand, Spirit Finger Equipment, Chaos Sky Swallowing Halberd the Power of God, Level 5 Eye Technique, X-Ray Vision Bragging Points, 820 Experience, 100100000 The Sage Realm. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai's confidence exploded. With the cultivation of the Sage Realm, the ability of a God-level gem gambling master, and the power of an array master that he was about to obtain in this Genesis continent, except for the central region, which was full of experts, who could suppress him? The answer is no. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Is it the Fire Shunyuan of the Stone Domain, or the most powerful expert of the Bai family? The most powerful expert of the Stone Domain, the peak of the 9th grade Sage Realm? Wang Kai squinted his eyes, looking extremely disdainful. If it was the Fire Shunyuan of the ancient Sage Realm, with his current strength, he was no match for it. But if it was the peak of the 9th grade Sage Realm, it would be too easy. Now, with the help of martial techniques and weapons, he could cross 6 ranks to fight the enemy. But what if the level of martial techniques and weapons were upgraded to the Sage Realm? Would his battle prowess be doubled again? First, upgrade the Chaos, Sky-Swallowing Halberd, Daluo Golden Body, and Void Hand to the corresponding level of the Sage Realm. Wang Kai slowly closed his eyes and secretly urged his mind. Congratulations to the host for successfully upgrading the Chaos, Sky-Swallowing Halberd to level 5. A total of 200 bragging points have been consumed. Congratulations to the host for successfully upgrading the Daluo Golden Body to the Sage Realm. A total of 200 bragging points have been consumed. Congratulations to the host for successfully upgrading the Void Hand to the Sage Realm. A total of 200 bragging points have been consumed. Host, Wang Kai occupation, Chaotic Warrior, Formation Breaker Realm, Sage Realm, Rank 1 Cultivation Method, Sage Daluo Diamond Physique Martial Skill, Saint Void Hand Equipment, Chaos Sky Swallowing Halberd the Power of God, Level 5 Eye Technique, Clairvoyance Bragging Points, 240 Experience, 300100000. Hearing the prompt and looking at the page that appeared in front of him, Wang Kai's heart skipped a beat. He could clearly see that there was an additional word Sage in front of the names of the cultivation skills, martial techniques, and weapons. As for the disappearance of the Stone Gambling Master's cultivation skills, Instant Strike, Stone Cutting Technique, and Spiritual Finger, Wang Kai did not care at all. As long as he still had the skills of a God-level Stone Gambling Master, it was fine. The fact that the records have been erased only proved that the Instant Strike and Spiritual Finger could no longer keep up with the standards of the Sage Realm. As for learning the new Stone Gambling Master's cultivation skills and stone cutting technique that were compatible with the Sage Realm, Wang Kai did not consider them for the time being. After all, a god-level stone gambling master was the strongest outside of the central region. Host, with the help of the sage-level cultivation skills, weapons, and martial techniques, you have the combat power to kill enemies 9 levels higher. 9 levels higher. Wang Kai took a deep breath when he heard that. Didn't this mean that he was now able to fight against an expert at the peak of the 9th grade sage realm? The system did not give him a reward when he had this thought. Just as I thought. Hee. As long as I don't meet an expert who has the special ability to kill enemies of a higher level, I can definitely be invincible outside of the central region. Wang Kai grinned and chuckled proudly. What wicked ideas are you thinking of over there again? Ishu's delicate body couldn't help but tremble when she heard Wang Kai's sudden, sinister laughter. When she looked at him, her beautiful eyes were already filled with deep fear. However, Wang Kai was not in the mood to pay attention to her. Cultivate the chaotic million formation portrait. Congratulations to the host for successfully cultivating the chaotic million formation portrait. A total of 200 bragging points have been consumed. Cultivate this formation breaking technique along with it. Damn it, it's simply too awesome. Combined with the primal chaos 10,000 formation portrait, I only need to say the word break to break the formation. Isn't this awesome to the extreme? Wang Kai frowned as he urged his mind excitedly. Host, I'm sorry. The bragging points you have now are not enough to cultivate the array breaking technique. Chapter 1017. Host. Wang Kai occupation. Chaotic warrior. Array breaker realm. Sage. Rank 1 cultivation method. Sacred Daluo diamond body. Chaotic 1000 formation image martial skill. Saint void hand equipment. Sacred chaos heaven. Swallowing halberd the power of God. Level 5 eye technique. X-ray vision bragging points. 40 experience. 30001000 when he heard the notification. Wang Kai's eyebrows furrowed. Activating his thoughts, he opened the system page. Only then did he realize that he was only left with 40 bragging points. Based on a number of bragging points he needed to cultivate this skill, he would need at least 160 bragging points. 160 points? 8 bragging points? It's so easy. It's like eating and drinking. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. The corners of Wang Kai's mouth curled up slightly when he heard the notification. He slowly opened his eyes and looked at Ishu. He asked softly with a smile, "Do you know who the most handsome person on the origin continent is? Are you crazy?" Upon hearing this, Ishu, who was wondering what Wang Kai was up to, was stunned. Previously, he was meditating. Now, he suddenly came back to his senses and asked who was the most handsome person in the origin continent. Was he crazy? If not for the fact that she could not afford to offend Wang Kai, Ishu would have called him crazy. Hee, you don't have to answer. From your eyes, Ben Xiao can clearly see that your answer is that Ben Xiao is the most handsome person. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled calmly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Swoosh. Ishu's beautiful eyes were stunned when she heard this. She stared blankly at Wang Kai. For a moment, she was unable to recover her senses. She swore that she had seen thick-skinned people before, but this was the first time she had seen such a thick-skinned person. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed, pretending to be sad. Alas, I'm too handsome for words. I'm so handsome that I'm physically and mentally exhausted. No matter where I go, I'll attract bees and butterflies. I'm so king tired. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Master, you're right. In my opinion, you're the most powerful expert in the world. The invisible giant, who was running at high speed, also seized the opportunity to praise him. It had to be said that this flattery was really accurate. Well, seeing that you're so sensible, Ben Xiao won't argue with you. In the future, practice your invisibility diligently. It would be best if you could increase your invisibility from 3 days and 3 nights to 3 years and 3 months. If you don't know how to do it, you can ask Ben Shao. Ben Shao can be invisible until he dies. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through the realm and reaching the rank 2 Sage realm. Master, your ability to brag is also well known. No one in the chaotic realm can beat you. If anyone dares to say that they can brag better than you, I'll be the first to give them a punch. The invisible giant scratched his head and said with a simple and honest smile, "Uft, he." As soon as these words were spoken, even Ishu, who was reserved in speech and manner, was unable to hold back. She directly covered her face and laughed coquettishly. It could be said that she was trembling with laughter. Even though she was wearing women's clothes, she now exuded a strong sense of femininity. Looks like Ben Shao should take back his words. You're really a fool. Can't you learn from Ben Shao and become smarter? At least reach the level of being invincible and able to speak eloquently. At the very least, you have to have good eyesight. Do you know that? Wang Kai's face darkened, and he looked rather annoyed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. He had just flattered him, and now he was pouring cold water on him. If not for the fact that he had exhausted himself running all the way, Wang Kai would have definitely taught him a lesson. Haha, you still want others to flatter you. It's fine if they flatter you, but why do you have to brag? Why bother? Aren't you tired? Can't you just be yourself? Ishu said disdainfully. Listening to Wang Kai blowing his own trumpet, he couldn't bear it any longer. Sigh, that's because you don't understand. Because you're weak, you can't understand Ben Shao's awesomeness. Take the sky, for example. Sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's white, sometimes it's red. But as long as Ben Shao closes his eyes, it's black. Do you believe that? Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. The sky is black when you close your eyes. Hearing this, the invisible giant, who was still running below, could not help but stop. His eyes widened in shock. Ishu blinked her beautiful eyes and was stunned for a long time. Then she said, "You're really good at bragging. No one can beat you. I admire you. I admire you very much. I admire you too, master." The invisible giant praised and gave a thumbs up. Then, he continued running. You don't believe me, right? Torch Dragon. Host, your Torch Dragons has not been upgraded and cannot achieve the desired effect in the chaotic realm. In order to protect your reputation, the system will remind you. After hearing the notification, Wang Kai's mouth twitched violently. His expression was as ugly as it could be. He wanted to take the opportunity to show off, but in the end now, he had been bragging continuously in order to cultivate the array-breaking technique. If he used it to upgrade the Torch Dragons, wouldn't that be? Forget it. If you don't believe it, then don't believe it. Awesome people never show off themselves. Everything is up to fate. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with an indifferent expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Tisk TSK. Ishu didn't say anything about this, and she only sneered to express her disdain at this moment. Host, Wang Kai occupation, chaotic warrior, array breaking master realm, sage, rank 2 cultivation technique, Saint Daluo diamond body, chaotic million formation image martial skill, Saint void hand equipment, Saint chaos heaven swallowing halberd the power of God, level 5 ocular technique, x-ray bragging points, 160 experience. 5000100000 inch. I still need 2 more bragging points. Wang Kai glanced at it casually and shrugged. He smiled proudly and said, Don't think that Ben Shao is bragging. I'll tell you clearly that Ben Shao has the Torch Dragon's eye. He can open his eyes to see the day and close his eyes to see the night. In a breath, he can shatter all your clothes. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Swoosh. As soon as he said that, Ishu, who was full of disdain, changed her expression immediately. She stood up quickly and stared at Wang Kai warily. Wang Kai was bragging if he said anything else, but this sentence had to be taken seriously. It was just that Wang Kai's character was not trustworthy. Chapter 10:18. Is Ben Shao that scary? When Wang Kai saw this, he touched his nose and said with a somewhat speechless expression. Previously, when he was bragging, she was not afraid. Now, not only was she afraid, but she had reached the point of fear. It's not that you're scary, it's that your character is scary, Ishu said bluntly. She became more alert. It was as if she would be stripped naked by Wang Kai in the next moment. Are you doubting Ben Shao's character? Wang Kai squinted his eyes, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Even his tone had become a lot heavier. Swoosh! Such a scene caused Ishu's expression to be stunned. Her fear immediately disappeared and was replaced with a jolt of awareness. Only then did he remember that he couldn't afford to provoke him at all. Even if he wanted to do anything to her, she had to endure it. Otherwise, wouldn't all her efforts in obtaining the sun-shooting bow go to waste? What about you? Let me tell you, you can doubt anything about Ben Shao, but you can't doubt his character. Ben Shao's character is trustworthy. He is the noblest character in the world. Wang Kai shrugged and snorted unhappily. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Swoosh! Hearing this, Ishu did not dare to express her disdain. Instead, she forced a smile and said, Yes. Your character is the best in the world. I will believe you. I will believe you unconditionally. Oh, in that case, take off all your clothes. Don't worry, this young master promises that I won't look at you. Moreover, I won't do anything out of line to you. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and pretended to be sincere as he spoke. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the rank 3 Sage Realm. After hearing this, Ishu was filled with hatred. It was only now that she was completely awake. She clearly understood what it meant to be shameless. As for Wang Kai, he was indeed a shameless person from head to toe. He was also a genius, a shameless genius. Just by casually speaking, he was able to get his way and successfully pull her into his trap. All right, Ben Shao has no time to deal with you now. He will deal with you later. What you need to do now is to think of a way to deal with Ben Shao. When the time comes, don't make this young master personally take action and forcefully. In short, you know what I mean? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered in ridicule. Buzz. After he finished speaking, Wang Kai focused his mind on the system. Let's practice the formation breaking technique. You should have enough bragging points now, right? Wang Kai said faintly in his mind. Congratulations to the host for successfully cultivating the formation breaking formation technique. A total of 200 bragging points have been consumed. Host, Wang Kai occupation, Chaotic Warrior, Formation Breaking Master Rank, Sage Realm, Rank 3 Cultivation Method, Sage Daluo Diamond Body, Chaotic Thousand Formation Image Martial Skill, Saint Void Hand, Array Breaking Technique Equipment, Sage Chaos Heaven Swallowing Halberd the Power of God, Level 5 Eye Technique, X-Ray Vision Bragging Points, 20 Experience, 100010000. I still have 20 bragging points left. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and glanced at it casually. He then asked again, How many bragging points do I need to upgrade the Torch Dragon's Eye? Host, with your current martial arts realm, if you want to upgrade the Torch Dragon's Eye to the same level as the Chaotic Realm, you will need to consume 200 bragging points. 200 bragging points, another 200. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's face darkened. Just now, in order to practice the formation breaking technique, he had bragged 8 times in a row. In the end, he had even bragged wrongly, earning him an extra 20 bragging points. Now, he needed another 200 bragging points. Didn't that mean he had to brag 9 more times? And he had to brag 1 more time. The price had increased. Forget it. I don't need the Torch Dragon's Eye for now. I'll think about it in the future. With that thought, Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and closed all the system pages. It's too troublesome to travel like this. Let's go to the other regions directly and save as much time as possible. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked calmly, You really want to fight all the way to the Hunter Formation region? Ishu was stunned when she heard that. Her beautiful eyes were filled with panic as she asked. That's right, Bin Xiao has the same intention, and you have no reason to refuse. Otherwise, Bin Xiao will fulfill his promise and— As he finished speaking, Wang Kai laughed in a licentious manner. Even though he didn't finish speaking, it still caused Ishu's delicate figure to suddenly tremble. No matter how unwilling Ishu was, she had to bear with it. I won't stop you, and I won't refuse to travel with you. I just want to ask, do you really have the strength to deal with the 100 Formation region? Ishu bit her red lips and asked seriously. If Wang Kai failed, the consequences would be life and death. The main thing was that the family matters would be delayed. Moreover, Ishu was still worried about what was going on in the Sea of Fire. How could she allow Wang Kai to take such a risk? Of course, you don't have to believe in Bin Xiao's character, but you have to believe in Bin Xiao's strength. It's just the 100 Formation region. Bin Xiao can turn everyone in it into ashes in an instant. Wang Kai stood up with his hands behind his back as he spoke indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Didn't you just say that no matter what I don't believe in, I have to believe in your character? Why now? Ishu was speechless. If possible, she wanted to stay away from Wang Kai. What the eye doesn't see, the heart doesn't grieve over. If she didn't want to meet him, she would definitely attack him. Did Bin Xiao say that just now? Oh, if he did, it's nothing to be concerned about. Bin Xiao was just bragging. Besides, didn't you always think that Bin Xiao was bragging? Do you really believe that Bin Xiao's character is noble? Wang Kai frowned and asked with a surprised smile. You hiss. Huff. Hearing this, Ishu took a deep breath and exhaled deeply. Wang Kai really made her unable to think properly. If she continued to interact with him like this, she would definitely become his prey. Moreover, she would be the prey that couldn't fight back. She wouldn't even be able to run away. All right, I hope that you won't lie to me. I'm really going to take a gamble here. Ishu pursed her red lips and said seriously with reddened eyes. Until now, there was nothing but grievance. There was no other way to deal with Wang Kai. Don't worry, Bin Xiao is really powerful. It's not difficult for him to dominate the 100 Formation region. Wang Kai rubbed his nose and said awkwardly. He didn't expect that he would make a beauty cry. Chapter 1019. 10 days later, Wang Kai and Ishu, who relied on the invisible giant to run, had reached the edge of the 100 Formation territory. They were now in a barren mountain. The Dog King had caught up with Wang Kai and the others 7 days ago. With his sage realm cultivation, he could easily catch up with them even if he was 7 days late. Aren't you a self-proclaimed array breaker? Since that's the case, let's break the array in front of us that is preventing us from entering the 100 Formation territory. Patter! Ishu leaped and slowly landed on the ground. She lifted her slender arm and pointed at a long, winding path in front of them. We still need Bin Xiao to break the array? Then what are we doing for the past 10 days? Logically speaking, we should have a way to enter the 100 Formation territory after we arrive at the edge of each territory. Why do we need Bin Xiao to break the array? Wang Kai frowned and said with a displeased expression, Woof, woof, woof. Master, this woman definitely doesn't trust you. She's too much of a dog. The Dog King, who had condensed the face of a husky, glared and barked. Stupid dog, if you dare to talk to me like that again, I will definitely kill you. Ishu's beautiful eyes narrowed and a cold light flashed in them. She couldn't bear to be called a woman again and again. If it was Wang Kai, she would have let it go. After all, she needed his help. But this Dog King, if she had the chance, Ishu would definitely stew him in his soup. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're a stone gambling master. Let's not talk about whether your stone gambling skills can suppress the Prince of Dogs. Even if you can, Master is here. What can you do? The Dog King snorted disdainfully. That appearance was simply arrogant to the extreme, making Ishu gnash her teeth in hatred. Iota Towery, do you even know how to use the word dog's hit now? Logically speaking, shouldn't you call yourself a dog? Why did you call her a dog just now? Wang Kai frowned and asked with a playful expression. Whoosh. Hearing this, how could the Dog King not know what Wang Kai was planning? Master, you're so smart. Over the past few days, I've been using spirit quenching on the Grand Elder and Black Shadow to forcefully increase their cultivation. I've also heard about how to use Dogsh *T. In short, the Prince of Dogs is no longer Dogsh *T, but awesome. Idiots are the ones who are stupid. Idiots are the ones who are stupid. Wang. Suddenly, Ishu was enraged. She flipped her hand and shot out rays of golden light towards the Dog King. Wait, why are you angry? We're just having an academic discussion. It's your fortune to be able to listen in. Wang Kai shrugged. His eyes focused and shot out a green primal chaos energy, which immediately shattered the golden light rays. You bastards. Despicable. Shameless. Despicable. Dogsh *T. Cough, cough. Ishu stomped her feet in anger and cursed repeatedly. In the end, even she choked on her own words. She had been led into a ditch by Wang Kai and the Dog King. The Prince of Dogs is awesome, not Dogsh *T. Watch your words. However, the Dog King was enraged. After knowing the true meaning of Dogsh *T, how could he allow others to curse him like this? In fact, when he thought about how he had called himself a Dogsh *T, the Dog King was extremely embarrassed. You are a Dogsh *T. Big cough cough, big Dogsh *T. Ishu glared at him with her beautiful eyes. Her face was red with anger, as if she was ready to throw caution to the wind. She no longer cared about her image as a woman. She was really angry to the extreme. The Prince of Dogs is awesome. No, you Dogsh *T. Awesome. Dogsh *T. Awesome, Scram. All of you shut up. Just as the Dog King and Ishu were cursing at each other, Wang Kai finally couldn't take it anymore and shouted at them to stop. Even his ears were buzzing from their shouting. Anyway, the Prince of Dogs is awesome. The Dog King's condensed husky face put on a rather arrogant look and snorted twice. You are a Dogsh *T. Ishu pursed her red lips and snorted coldly with an ashen face. That's enough. Ben Shao, go break the array. Don't you just want to see Ben Shao's power? Then, open your eyes wide and watch carefully. This kind of opportunity is something that everyone in the chaotic realm can only hope for. Wang Kai waved his hand and said helplessly, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Ishu's expression was indifferent. From the beginning, she didn't believe that Wang Kai knew how to break the array. She had never even heard of such a profession. Now that she was in a fit of anger, it would be strange if she cared about him. Master is right. The Prince of Dogs has already opened his eyes wide and is ready to appreciate it. The Dog King said with a cheeky smile. A man and a dog, spouting *T all over their mouths. A dog and a man, shameless beyond compare. Ishu sneered with disdain. *CK. Master, she actually wrote a poem to scold us. The Dog King was furious when he heard this. A man and a woman, a Dog King, a gatekeeper, two on the bed, a dog, a woman, and a man, playing and playing poetry with Ben Shao. In this world, no one is a match. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and smiled casually. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Good poem. Master, you are too awesome. The Prince of Dogs finally knows that sometimes, even without using force, you can make people go crazy. The Dog King shouted in shock. However, Ishu, who was choked back by Wang Kai's impromptu poem, had her eyes red again and tears rolled down her cheeks. She couldn't beat Wang Kai in a fight, and she couldn't beat the Dog King in a scolding. She thought that she could use a poem or something to choke them, but who knew that it was useless. Instead, she was scolded even more fiercely. It was too suffocating. At that moment, Ishu's heart was filled with grievances. She even had the desire to die. "Master, there seems to be someone watching us in front." The invisible giant was standing high up and could see far. When he swept his gaze, he was surprised to see more than 10 black-robed warriors standing on the opposite side of the road. Array masters? Wang Kai frowned and rubbed his nose with a playful expression. No, they're not formation masters. They're just border guard from the 100 formations realm. If they detect any trespassers, they'll notify the formation masters to seal off the area. Ishu was wiping her tears and crying as she explained. Her pitiful appearance made Wang Kai and the Dog King feel a little embarrassed. "Don't cry. Ben Xiao was wrong, okay? I'll leave the sun shooting bow with you for now, so that you won't be sad all the time." Helpless, Wang Kai could only choose to comfort her. He took out the sun shooting bow and handed it to Ishu. Chapter 10:20. Swoosh. You should have given me the sun shooting bow long ago. Suddenly, Ishu took action quickly and snatched the sun shooting bow from him. Moreover, she, who was crying because she had been wronged, was now smiling like a flower. It was as if everything that had happened earlier was just an act. Woof, woof, woof. "Master, if the Prince of Dog were to say that you shouldn't have given her the sun shooting bow. Look at how proud she is. She is such a bitch." The Dog King took the opportunity to snort in disdain. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled calmly. "You should learn more about the way of a gentleman from Ben Xiao. Why are you arguing with a woman? Let her be proud. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 boasting points." The way of a gentleman? The Dog King grinned when he heard those words. Although he despised Su Mo in his heart, he didn't dare to show it. He agreed and said, That's right. Master is a gentleman, and the Prince of Dogs is a king." King. The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched. He thought that the Dog King really knew how to give himself a title. He didn't call himself a dog, but a king. "Goodbye, you two idiots. I have had enough of you during this period of time." Virum. Suddenly, Ishu flipped her slender hand and fused the sun-shooting bow into her body. In an instant, she stepped into the air and walked towards the road far away. "Big Brother Gyuan, it's me. Ishu, save me. There are 2 idiots here who want to do bad things to me." Swoosh. After Ishu's voice sounded, over a dozen figures on the road rushed forward in a flash, forming a circle around Ishu to protect her in the middle. In front of them was a young man in black robes. He took off the bamboo hat on his head, revealing a faint smile on his handsome face. As he cautiously stared at Wang Kai's group, he softly laughed and said, "So, it's little sister Ishu. It's been a long time. Little sister, don't worry. With me here, no one can hurt you." "No, Big Brother Gyuan, don't let your guard down. That D*MNB* starred is an expert who doesn't lose to a Saint Realm expert. There's a stupid dog beside him. He's a true Saint Realm expert, an undying spirit," Ishu said anxiously. Whoosh. With that said, the young man Gyuan, who was originally full of confidence, had a drastic change in expression. He quickly turned around and ran down the path. At the same time, he shouted, "Quickly retreat. Activate the formation. Inform the array masters to come here and attack the enemy." "Air, what kind of thing are you looking for? Is that all you've got? Once you hear that something is wrong, you turn around and run? Forget about running. You even want to call for help?" Wang Kai, who had been watching from afar, rubbed his nose and smiled in disdain. From the start, when Ishu had run away until now, Wang Kai had no intention of stopping her. Even when the Dog King wanted to attack, Wang Kai had stopped him. He had done that to see what tricks she had up her sleeves. However, he had not expected the result to be so mediocre. Hearing Wang Kai's mocking words, Ishu could not help but blush. She had not expected Gyuan to be so cowardly. She vaguely remembered that when she had crossed the border with her father to enter 100 Formation region a few years ago, she had met Gyuan, who had been a great man. But now, she was simply speechless. Humph, you're all in the sage realm. You've been cultivating for at least 100 years, right? If that's the case, why can't I retreat first? Why can't I find a way to suppress you? I'm not afraid to tell you that I, Gyuin, have just turned 25 this year, and I'm already a sage realm expert. If you give me 100 years, I won't lose to you. The handsome young man snorted coldly before he turned to Ishu and said, Little sister Ishu, don't worry. With me around, no one can hurt you. Ishu's face turned even redder. She did not know how to answer the young man. Wang Kai was only 18 years old, and his combat power could be compared to a sage realm expert. How could it be that Gyuin had cultivated for over 100 years? Master, this guy is really dumb and a dog. Should we let the prince of dogs tear him apart? The dog king formed a husky's head out of mist and stared at the young man on the road with a twisted expression. No, no, no. Let's wait for a while. When the array master arrives, we'll take care of them. It's not too late. We'll let this girl know that no one who dares to mess with Ben Xiao has a good ending. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled casually. Woof, woof, woof. Master, that's a great plan. Let's push that B*TCH into the abyss and let her know that you're the most powerful person in the chaotic realm. The dog king praised. At the same time, Ishu, who had heard the conversation between Wang Kai and the dog king, froze. She pursed her lips and felt that something was wrong. He could have attacked directly, but he did not. Why did he have to wait for the array master to arrive? Where did he get his confidence from? It should be known that under the control of the formation master, the formation setup could completely trap a sage realm expert and even kill him. At the very least, it could send him to the end of the mainland. Could he really be a array master? No, that's impossible. I've never heard of such a profession as a formation breaker. Ishu shook her head and comforted herself inwardly. Sister Ishu, don't worry. My grandfather will bring people over later. Plus, there's an isolation array that my grandfather left on the road. Even a sage realm expert would have to spend 6 hours to break it. We're absolutely safe. Later, we'll avenge you. The handsome young man repeatedly tried to curry favor with her. Moreover, his words revealed an extremely strong sense of confidence. Brother Yuan, let's leave this place quickly. That B** starred. Don't worry. He doesn't have the ability to break in. When he breaks the isolation array, my grandfather will be here with experts. Gu Yuan waved his hand and smiled, interrupting Ishu. What array? Isolation array? In the distance, Wang Kai heard their conversation and couldn't help rubbing his nose, a playful look on his face. That's right. I think it's called the isolation array or something. It said that even an elite of the sage realm would need 6 hours to break this array. How pretentious! The king of dogs said disdainfully. Break the array with orders. Break. Virum. Bang. 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 Rumble. Rumble. Suddenly, Wang Kai stepped into the air and came to the top of the road. He opened his mouth and shouted. However, after this shout, many blue barriers could clearly be seen appearing around the road. However, the barriers merely flickered for a moment before completely shattering and disappearing. The powerful attack did not stop there. It destroyed the entire road. It was full of potholes and dust flew up. Chapter 10:21. Cough, cough. This is impossible. After the smoke and dust scattered, the young man, who was leading the group, and his many followers were lying in many large pits. Their clothes were tattered, and they were seriously injured. The formation was broken, and all the cultivators were injured. They had no fighting power left. Wang Kai Ishu crawled to her feet, her face covered in dust. Under the intense bombardment, her clothes were tattered, revealing a large amount of her naked body. Her snow-white skin, her enchanting figure, and her various silhouettes were all extremely beautiful. What about me? This young master is not in the mood to deal with you. Just stand there obediently. Wang Kai shrugged and snorted coldly with an impatient expression. She had just gotten the sun shooting bow and wanted to run away. She even found someone to deal with him. Now that the situation was not right, she wanted to beg for mercy. Woof, woof, woof. Master, this girl's figure's really not bad. Do you want to capture her? And the Dog King said with a greedy look. Hearing that, Wang Kai glared at him and said coldly, she is Ben Xiao's cup of tea. Ben Xiao hasn't played with her yet, and you want to play with her? Scram. Air. Master, the Prince of Dogs wants her to play with you, the Dog King said. Wang Kai, I was just testing to see if you were the so-called formation-breaking master. I didn't mean to betray you, Ishu said anxiously, especially when she heard the conversation between Wang Kai and the Dog King. She was terrified. If she was forced to be taken by Wang Kai, then so be it. But if she was taken by the Dog King, thinking of this, Ishu even had the thought of dying. She had not expected Gu Yuan to be such an idiot. He had told them to retreat first, but he had waited for the experts to come to their aid. Now, before the reinforcements came, they were all dead. Don't you women like to lie? Do you think Ben Xiao is easy to lie to? Wang Kai frowned and sneered in disdain. It was the same with Bai Yu earlier. She had repeatedly lied to him. Now, even Ishu had learned how to lie. I'm not lying. Everything I said is true. Ishu blinked her beautiful eyes and hurriedly explained. Are you telling the truth? Come over here and look into Ben Xiao's eyes. Wang Kai squinted and pretended to believe her. Swoosh! Ishu's eyes flashed. Even though she knew that she would be taken advantage of by Wang Kai if she got close to him, it was better than being treated as an enemy. With this thought in mind, Ishu's figure moved and directly arrived in front of Wang Kai. She stared at him and was just about to open her mouth when a hand suddenly appeared and squeezed her delicate body until it trembled. She was unable to say anything at all. He saw that Wang Kai's palm was directly placed on his buttocks, and he was ruthlessly pinching them. TSK, not bad, not bad. This elasticity, this softness. You are good. Wang Kai shrugged and smacked his lips. Ishu was so embarrassed that she could not show her face, but she could only let him do whatever he wanted. If not, the consequences would not be as simple as a physical attack. At least it was better than that stupid dog. Ishu comforted herself in her heart. Master, what should we do with these idiots? At the same time, the Dog King, who wanted to hide, kicked Gu Yuan and the others together. They were like a human pyramid, stacking them up. No, don't kill me. My grandfather is one of the top 10 array masters in the 100 formation region. If you kill me, you will not be able to leave the 100 formation region. Even if you hide in the middle region, you will be found and killed. Gu Yuan screamed, and his face turned pale. He was afraid that Wang Kai would give the order to kill him on the spot. Weren't you arrogant and confident just now? You wanted to be a hero and save the beauty. What happened? Are you scared now? Where's your courage? Where's your pride? Where's your shame? Wang Kai frowned and grabbed Ishu's butt. As he enjoyed it, he taunted Gu Yuan. Such a situation made Gu Yuan furious and jealous. Helplessly, since things had reached such a stage, his chances of survival were slim. He didn't dare to have any other thoughts. Wang Kai, let me change my clothes. This is not good, ah? Just as Ishu was begging for mercy in a soft voice, she suddenly felt Wang Kai's finger touch the top of that spot. Her delicate body trembled rapidly, causing her to cry out in alarm. Well, you can go, but you need to remember that if you want this young master to forgive you, you'd better be mentally prepared. Don't expect to escape. You won't be able to. Wang Kai shrugged and withdrew his hand with a rather casual expression. Ishu blushed and pursed her lips. She did not dare to reject him and had no intention of running away, because she was very clear that Wang Kai's method of breaking through formations was too powerful. Coupled with his cultivation, there was no one in the 100 formations domain who could suppress him. If he were to provoke him again, then the consequences would be beyond negotiation. When is your grandfather coming? Let this young master see just how awesome the so-called top 10 array masters of the 100 formation territory are. Wang Kai frowned, a playful smile on his face. He's coming. He'll be here soon. My grandfather is really powerful. I promise you'll have a good fight. Gu Yuan quickly replied. Have a good fight? The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly when he heard this. He couldn't help but rub his nose as he sneered disdainfully You really aren't a good thing. At this critical moment of life and death, you actually want this young master to beat your grandfather up. No, that's not what I meant. I meant that you guys will have a good fight. What do you mean? Say it again. Ah, yes, yes. That's what I meant. My grandfather is powerful, but not as powerful as you. You'll have a good fight with him. Under Wang Kai's gaze, Gu Yuan lost all his courage. He quickly changed his words and started to speak. That fawning look really made Wang Kai feel extremely disdainful. One had to say that when a person was in a life or death situation, he could even give up on family. Don't say that he was confident that he would not give up. That was because it was not the time yet. Shameless. Ishu, who had already changed her clothes, heard Gyuan's words and scolded in disdain. If she had known that Gyuan was such a coward, Ishu would not have chosen to escape from Wang Kai. Now, she had been taken advantage of by Wang Kai. She did not know how he would deal with her after this. Yes, I'm shameless. I'm despicable. I'm not human. As long as you guys are happy. Gu Yuan nodded and smiled. He did not dare to show any emotions. Chapter 10:22. Useless. I didn't expect you to become so useless. Ishu frowned and said with disgust. She could still remember the Gu Yuan of the past. He was righteous, full of confidence and wisdom. He was humble and courteous to others. But now, when it came to a matter of life and death, he had become like this. It seemed that one could not judge a person by their appearance. Whether the soul hidden under the skin was dirty or pure, no one knew. Don't you wear female clothes? Why do you only wear male clothes? Even Bin Xiao wants to tear it apart. Wang Kai frowned and said with displeasure, Ishu's red lips moved when she heard this, and she hesitated to speak. Wang Kai did not ask further. Perhaps she had some special circumstances. Presumptuous. Who dares to barge into the 100 formation region? My grandfather is here. Suddenly, an old man shouted. It was Gu Yuan. He seemed to be reporting to Wang Kai, but he was actually trying to convey his thoughts. Wang Kai shrugged when he saw this, and was too lazy to pay attention to his thoughts. No matter what, his strength was there, so it was useless to do anything. You honor, who are you? Soon, under the lead of a white-haired old man in a black robe, dozens of powerful cultivators appeared in the sky. Ancient Sage Realm? No, they're too weak. They're not enough for Ben Xiao. Wang Kai frowned and shook his head in disappointment. He had thought that they would be very powerful, but in the end, the strongest one was only at the Ancient Sage Realm. Who are you? Why did you come to this barren mountain and barge into the 100 formation region? The white-haired old man scolded. That's enough. Stop shouting. Don't you know that you should introduce yourself before asking for someone's name? Wang Kai said with disdain with his hands behind his back. Whoosh. Hearing that, the white-haired old man's eyes turned cold. However, seeing that Gu Yuan was in Wang Kai's hands, he could only remain calm and say, My name is Gu Zhan. I am one of the 10 formation masters guarding the border of the 100 formation region. Who are you? Gu Zhan, one of the top 10 array masters? Wang Kai shrugged and looked at him in surprise. He slowly extended his hand and smiled faintly. With your cultivation, I'm afraid you're destined to lose. But don't worry, Bin Xiao has always been kind and generous. I'll let you have 3 moves. Set up the formation. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 4th rank Saint Realm. Whoosh! As soon as these words were spoken, regardless of whether it was the old man Gu Zhan or the numerous ancestor stage cultivators behind him, all of their expressions changed slightly. Since they'd just arrived, all of them had secretly spied on Wang Kai's cultivation. But in the end, the results they obtained were 0. They simply couldn't see through Wang Kai's real cultivation and what level he was at. Now that Su Mo had said such arrogant words, the crowd couldn't help but secretly ponder and become cautious. Young friend, I don't think we've had any grievances in the past, right? In that case, why don't we sit down and have a good chat? Do we have to resort to force? Gu Zhen's expression softened slightly as he suppressed his anger and spoke. Without knowing Wang Kai's real strength, naturally, he didn't dare to offend him. It's true that there were no grievances between us in the past, but recently, there is indeed a grudge between us. Your good grandson has successfully provoked this young master and even called out to this young master in a very arrogant manner. Now look at him. He's in such a miserable state. If you don't behave, you may end up even worse than him. Wang Kai shrugged and said quite casually, "Ew." Upon hearing this, Gu Zhen's face was filled with anger. He had never thought that the young man in front of him would not give him any face. What about me? I asked you to set up the formation quickly, so do it. Why are you spouting so much nonsense? Do you really need Ben Xiao to do it? Virum. Then Wang Kai's eyes turned grave, and he instantly released his Sage Realm aura. He suppressed Gu Zhen and the others until they spat out blood and flew away. Sage. He's a sage. How old is he? This. Gu Zhen and the others fell to the ground and spat out blood. They stood up and stared at Jian Wushuang in shock. Even though they had guessed that Jian Wushuang was strong, they had never thought that he would be so strong. This is impossible. He must be an old monster who has cultivated for a few hundred years. Otherwise, he wouldn't have reached Sage Realm. Yes, he must be. Such a situation caused Gu Yuan's face to be filled with fear. He kept muttering to himself to comfort his own ego. They were both cultivators. If Wang Kai was really younger than him, but had reached a much higher level than him, then wouldn't he be humiliating himself by pretending to be strong before? Thinking about it now, Gu Yuan's face turned red, especially when he was facing Yishu. I didn't tell you before because I didn't want to hurt you, but now I don't think there's a need. He's only 18 years old. Sage Realm at 18 years old, Yishu said coldly. Whoosh. Gu Yuan was dumbfounded. He suddenly felt that he had been such a joke. He looked at Gu Zhen and the others and was even more shocked. They were all deeply shocked by Yishu's words. Sage Realm at 18 years old. What did that mean? A genius in the central region. Even if he wasn't the top in the central region, he was close to the top. Also, Uncle Gu, do you remember me? My father is Yi Qianquan. I advise you not to fight with him. Not only is his cultivation high, he's also a formation breaker, Yishu said coldly. Formation breaker? Him? Hearing that, Gu Zhen's expression changed drastically. He couldn't keep his composure anymore. He stared at Wang Kai and exclaimed, You're from Kunlun's field? You're from Kunlun's field? Kunlun's field? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and looked at him strangely. He said in confusion, What Kunlun's field? Is there a place more powerful than the chaotic field? You're not from Kunlun's field? Gu Zhen's face was filled with uncertainty. He carefully observed Wang Kai. He only quietly sighed in relief after seeing that Wang Kai did not appear to be acting dumb. Even though he was sure that Wang Kai wasn't from Kunlun's field because he was a formation breaker, he didn't want to set up a formation anymore. So it's Brother Yi's daughter. Long time no see. You've grown so big. How have you been? Gu Zhen held his fist and smiled warmly at Yishu. However, Yishu didn't want to care about that. After what happened with Gu Yuan, she didn't want to have anything to do with the Gu family anymore. Ben Xiao is asking you a question. Can't you hear him? What kind of place is Kunlun's field? You're already so old. Don't you want to die of old age? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked coldly. Chapter 1023. Bastard, if you want to die, don't tell me you want your whole clan to die with you. Before the cultivator could speak, Gu Zhen had already shouted. His words were filled with a strong threat. Such words had completely suppressed the cultivator. He moved his mouth, but did not dare to say anything for a while. TSK. It seems like you and Ben Xiao are the same kind of people. What's wrong? If he says it, do you want to exterminate his whole clan? Why don't you try exterminating Ben Xiao? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled disdainfully. Buzz. With a wave of his hand, he directly pulled that cultivator to the front. Just say it. With Ben Xiao around, not only will you be safe, but your whole clan will also be safe. Moreover, you'll get Ben Shao's help. It will be easy for you to become the #1 family in the 100 formation territory. It's just a matter of a word from Ben Shao. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Become the #1 family in the 100 formation territory. Help him. Hearing this, the cultivator was obviously moved. His expression changed greatly. In the end, he could not control his emotions, and his face flushed with excitement. He believed that Wang Kai definitely had the strength to do so. After all, the cultivation of the Sage Realm and the ability of the so-called Array-Breaking Master could restrain the Array Masters in the 100 formation territory. Although he did not know what Array-Breaking Master was, he did not need to think too much about it now. He only needed to say what he knew. I know. It's his eldest son, Gu Tianyun. He definitely knows about the Kunlun realm. I've heard their conversation before. The cultivator said loudly. Swoosh. Bastard. You're courting death. Slap. You're the one who's courting death. Suddenly, just as Gu Zhan's stern voice rang out, the cultivator directly took action. A slap ruthlessly landed on Gu Zhan's face. This slap caused Gu Zhan's head to buzz. His mind went blank. He did not dare to imagine that Yi Shiwen would dare to attack him. At the same time, Gu Zhan woke up completely. He was now a prisoner. Gu Tianyin, eldest son? TSK, where is he? Can you bring Ben Shao to him? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked with a playful smile. He thought to himself, it's fine as long as someone else knows about it. If Gu Zhan doesn't give in, it's useless to keep him alive. He went to the central region a long time ago. He said that he went there to cultivate the formation. However, he should be back soon, the cultivator said with a flattering smile. The central region? Hearing this, Wang Kai's pupils slightly shrank. He couldn't help but rub his nose. Then, he curiously smiled and said, So, that Gu Tianyin is very strong? No, he's not strong. He's just a trash who can't cultivate. However, his talent in formations is extremely powerful. No one in the 100 formation region can defeat him. However, he can't defeat you, young master. After all, you're the formation-breaking master that even this old guy is afraid of, the cultivator said with a smile. It had to be said that this brat knew how to go along with the flow. He was very good at flattering. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders. Naturally, he knew that Yi Shiwen was just trying to survive. He was just waiting for greater benefits. It was not too much. He'll be back soon? Are you sure? Wang Kai asked indifferently with his hands behind his back. I'm sure. I'm very sure. At that time, when he returns, I'll definitely inform you, young master. The cultivator rubbed his hands with a smile. He was not as mighty and domineering as he was when he first arrived. Now, he had changed from a tiger to a cat. Moreover, he was evolving into a mouse. Oh, what about you? Are you going to tell me now or not? Before you answer, Ben Shao wants to tell you something. The younger generation doesn't have your determination. After Ben Shao is tortured, your eldest son will tell you everything sooner or later. Perhaps, when he says it, he'll be a complete cripple. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said indifferently, Whoosh. Hearing that, Gu Zhan's expression changed greatly. His eyes spun rapidly as thousands of thoughts ran through his mind. I'll tell you. However, he has to die. They all have to die. Let's pretend that nothing happened today. Gu Zhan frowned and said with a vicious expression, Whoosh. Hearing that, Wang Kai squinted his eyes and stared at Gu Zhan. He said indifferently, Of course. Ben Shao also hates betrayal. He will die sooner or later. Since you want his life, Ben Shao will fulfill your wish. However, before that, you need to tell me about Kunlun's field. Plop. The cultivator was so scared that his face turned pale. He fell to the ground and raised his hand to point at Wang Kai. His body trembled and his lips trembled. He couldn't even speak. He didn't expect that Wang Kai would go back on his words. At the same time, the cultivators who followed were scared out of their wits. They didn't expect that they would die in the hands of Guzhun instead of Wang Kai. Kunlun's field is the origin of heaven and earth. The chaotic realm evolved from Kunlun's field. The gods in Kunlun's field call the chaotic realm evil creatures. As the name suggests, everyone who lives in the chaotic realm is an evil creature. They are sinners abandoned by the gods in Kunlun's field. They use the chaotic realm as a prison and raise them in captivity. It has been like this for generations. As Guzhun said one by one, Wang Kai and the others were shocked. The gods in Kunlun's field? Everyone in the chaotic realm is an evil creature? And the chaotic realm itself is a prison cell? Are there many array-breaking masters in that place? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked. Guzhun naturally couldn't bear it anymore. He nodded and said, Array-breaking masters are the evil creatures there. Array-breaking masters are the mainstream. Both sides are in a stalemate for a long time. Evil creatures, F***CK. That's because Benshao isn't in Kunlun's field. Otherwise, the mainstream is bullsh**T. It's all Benshao's piss. Wang Kai shrugged and snorted with disdain. How could such an awesome profession be called evil? How abominable. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Old man has told you everything he knows. Now should I? Guzhun's eyes narrowed, and a cold light flashed in them. When everyone saw this, their bodies trembled, and they fled in panic, not knowing where to go. Come back after you're done. Benshao has other things to ask you. Oh, your grandson isn't dead. Benshao just knocked him out. Although the injury is serious, it's not fatal, Wang Kai said calmly. Not dead. Hearing this, Guzhun was stunned. He stared at Wang Kai blankly. He had just seen Guyuan's body explode. Chapter 1024. Do you really think that's all Benshao is capable of? F***CK. What you saw just now was just a follower of your foolish grandson. Wang Kai shrugged and snorted in disdain. Bang! At the same time, the Dog King activated the mist and threw the unconscious Guyuan to Guzhun's feet. Woof, woof, woof. This brat is so cowardly. He beat his pants just now. If I didn't have to cooperate with Master, the Prince of Dogs would have thrown him far away, the Dog King said in disdain. Yuan heir. Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently, Don't give Yuan any face. If we don't chase after him, I'm afraid he'll disappear without a trace. If anything happens at that time, I won't be responsible. Swoosh. Guzhun finally came to a sudden realization when he heard this. His expression changed drastically as he rose into the air and chased after those fleeing cultivators. Master, you letting them go just like that? The Dog King asked in shock. At first, he really thought that Wang Kai would kill them. Who knew that such a dramatic turn of events would make the Dog King unable to react? Whether she should say or not, sometimes Wang Kai was really scary. Little did he know that Wang Kai's killing intent was real. If Guzhun hadn't relented, everyone would have died here. And just a few weaklings who can't even reach the apex. Let them go. Even if I give them another 100 years, 1,000 years, or even 10,000 years, they won't be able to pose any threat to this young master. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai frowned. He activated his consciousness in disdain and snorted. You call this bragging? It's all real, okay? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Host, if you reduce the number of bragging, give them another 10 years and they'll catch up with you. Wang Kai couldn't help but rub his nose when he heard this. He simply didn't care anymore. At least he got the reward and was one step closer to breaking through. Wang Kai, I think what you said is fake. Ishu frowned and suddenly said in a deep voice, Fake. In this regard, Wang Kai gently nodded, and he agreed in his heart. Since Guzhun and Ishu knew each other and did not mention the fire region, it proved that Baiyu was not telling the truth. After all, The 100 formation domain was connected to all the other domains. Naturally, they were well informed. Even so, Guzhan, who was one of the top 10 formation masters, had no idea that the Fire Sea region had moved to the Stone Divine domain. Naturally, there was something strange about it. Although it might be fake, we cannot completely deny it. What if Guzhan really does not know about the Fire Sea region? Wang Kai pondered for a moment before he smiled faintly. Although Ishu didn't believe it, she pursed her lips and didn't say anything. Whether it was true or false, she would have to wait until they reached the Godstone domain to determine. If it's possible, I hope you won't cause any more trouble. If the array masters of the 100 formation region are dissatisfied and secretly use their array, then Ishu said with an ugly expression. On the surface, they appeared to be amiable, but in the dark they were playing dirty tricks. Naturally, it was impossible to guard against such things. At that time, no matter how strong Wang Kai was as a formation breaker, he wouldn't be able to use it in time. Don't worry, array masters are no threat to Ben Shao. Even if Ben Shao isn't an array master, he can still ignore any restriction array. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the rank 6 Sage Realm. Host, Wang Kai occupation, chaotic martial artist, formation breaker realm. Sage, rank 6 cultivation technique. Sage Daluo diamond body, chaotic million formation image martial skill. Saint Void hand, array breaking technique equipment. Sage chaotic heaven swallowing halberd the power of God. Rank 5I technique. X-ray bragging points, 220 experience. 1000. After hearing the notification, Wang Kai didn't care. After all, the upgraded system had removed the ability to ignore restriction arrays. He had just taken the opportunity to boast. 220 bragging points. Looks like it's enough to upgrade the Eye of the Torch Dragon, right? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled playfully. Woof, woof, woof. Master, in the eyes of the Prince of Dogs, we should fight our way to the Sacred Stone territory. By then, Master's name will be known all over the world. The Prince of Dogs will also be known all over the world. Even if he goes to the Central region in the future, he'll be a celebrity. The Dog King chuckled. Stupid dog, don't come up with random ideas. Is this how you become famous? Even if you become famous, you'll definitely be cursed. Ishu scolded angrily. If possible, she really wanted to stew him in soup. He really knew how to stir up trouble. It was as if whatever she was afraid of had happened. She was still trying to persuade Wang Kai not to stir up trouble, but the Dog King just had to stir up trouble for Wang Kai. It was really detestable. Who are you scolding? The Prince of Dogs has already given up on the stalemate with you. How dare you provoke the Prince of Dogs? The Dog King roared furiously. Who's the stupid one? Who's the stupid one? In response, Ishu snorted disdainfully and turned her head away. She couldn't even be bothered to look at him. All right, the two of you stop arguing. The Dog King has a point. Ben Shao is indeed very suitable to be known all over the world. After all, it would be a pity if such an awesome Ben Shao didn't cause a stir in the chaotic realm. Wang Kai shrugged and said calmly, congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. You really want to listen to that stupid dog? Ishu shouted angrily. What? You want to betray me again? F***CK. Give me the sun-shooting bow. Buzz. Suddenly, Wang Kai waved his hand and forcefully took the sun-shooting bow that was hidden in Ishu's body. In response, even if Ishu wanted to resist, she was powerless. She could only watch as the sun-shooting bow left her hand. Let me tell you, Ben Shao hasn't settled the score with you for your betrayal. You'd better think carefully about how to make Ben Shao forgive you. Wang Kai curled his lips and snorted disdainfully. He then kept the sun-shooting bow in the system. You. Hearing this, Ishu's beautiful eyes turned red. However, no matter how wrong she felt, Wang Kai didn't have the slightest intention of caring. Acting wrong once was fine, twice was fine, but a third time was too much. Bin Xiao will give you a day to think about it. After a day, not only will Bin Xiao not help you, but he will also break the sun-shooting bow. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and laughed mockingly. Chapter 1025. Swoosh. Ishu was dumbfounded on the spot. What was there to consider in a day? It was simple. Wang Kai wanted to... When she thought of this, Ishu felt extremely ashamed and aggrieved. The sun-shooting bow was in Wang Kai's hands. It was impossible for her to escape. After all, Wang Kai had said that he would shatter the sun-shooting bow at any time. Do you regret it now? It's not that the Prince of Dogs is scolding you. Aren't you just a little pretty? Master is such an awesome person. You should have stuck to him earlier. Why did you have to go through so much trouble and not get any benefits in the end? The Dog King snorted disdainfully. That's right. It's very reasonable. In this regard, Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and nodded with a smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. How the F***CK is this Bin Xiao bragging? Bin Xiao is obviously awesome, okay? Moreover, the Dog King was just saying that Bin Xiao was awesome. Bin Xiao was just agreeing. Wang Kai's face darkened. He was speechless. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. My young friend, I'm back. Thank you for showing mercy this time. Suddenly, an aged voice was heard. Gu Zhen's body was covered in blood as he stepped through the air and returned. The smell of blood lingered around his body. There's no need to thank me. We're just taking what we need. Why didn't you relent earlier? Why did you have to suffer? Is there something wrong with your brain? Wang Kai frowned and said angrily. Gu Zhen's expression was extremely embarrassed when he heard this, and he said in his heart, I'm already so old, yet I was actually taught a lesson by a junior. But when he thought of this junior's cultivation, he could only lower his head and agree. Gu Zhen shook his head and sighed. Little friend, you might not know this, but we, the 10 great formation masters, know the entire 100 formation domain with a second to be sent out by the Kunlun realm. Naturally, we are very clear about the matters there. However, we cannot casually speak of it. Otherwise, it will cause unnecessary trouble. The second one to be sent out of Kunlun's field, 100 formation region. When Wang Kai heard this, he raised his eyebrows slightly. No wonder these people knew so much about the Kunlun realm. After all this time, it turned out that they were the evil creatures that were thrown out first. Who was the first to be sent out? It can't be the strongest central region, right? Wang Kai rubbed his nose and smiled playfully. That's right, it's the central region. Gu Zhen had a solemn expression when facing this, and he frankly admitted it. Is it really the so-called strongest middle region? TSK. That's interesting. Wang Kai grinned and said rather amusedly. Little friend, you might not know this, but after this chaotic realm evolved, everyone is an evil creature that was abandoned by the Kunlun realm. There are no exceptions. It has been passed down from generation to generation. Until now, only a few large clans in the central region and the descendants of the 10 great formation families of the 100 formation domain know about this, Gu Zhen said faintly. He seemed to be very dissatisfied with Wang Kai's laughter. In his opinion, Wang Kai was also from the chaotic realm. Just like them, he was also called the descendant of the evil creatures of the Kunlun realm. In that case, what was there to make fun of each other? Little did he know that Wang Kai really had nothing to do with this chaotic realm. Wang Kai naturally understood what he meant. He shrugged and smiled casually. I'm afraid you're wrong. Bin Xiao was not thrown out by the Kunlun realm. Bin Xiao walked out of the Kunlun realm personally to save the chaotic realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Hearing this, Gu Zhen smiled faintly. He did not believe it, nor did he express that he believed it. Due to Wang Kai's high cultivation and ability to break the formation, he could only remain silent. All right, bring your obedient grandson and prepare to welcome your obedient son back. At that time, Bin Xiao will ask you questions. Wang Kai shrugged and said rather indifferently, "Whoosh." Hearing this, Gu Zhen frowned deeply and his eyes flickered. Although they were temporarily safe now, with Wang Kai's power and character, it was inevitable that something bad would happen after Gu Tianyin returned. But now, even if he wanted to reject it, it was impossible. He could only appease him temporarily and think of another way. Thinking of this, Gu Zhen smiled gently and said, "You're right, my young friend. Please, let's have a chat in the mansion." Seeing this, Wang Kai squinted his eyes slightly. Naturally, he did not believe that this old man would help him 100%. Perhaps he was secretly thinking of some evil ideas. Let's go. However, for your safety, Ben Xiao still has to warn you. Do not provoke Ben Xiao, and do not plot against Ben Xiao. Otherwise, next time, you won't have a chance to speak. Remember. Wang Kai smiled faintly with his hands behind his back. My young friend, you're too serious." Hearing this, Gu Zhen's face stiffened. He waved his hand with a forced smile. His back was already covered in cold sweat, and his heart almost stopped beating. Woof, woof, woof. Old thing, next time my master doesn't even need to do anything. The Prince of Dogs will personally tear you, your son, your grandson, and your entire family to shreds. This is a warning. Do as you deem fit. The Dog King also threatened him in an arrogant manner. The repeated threats and warnings caused Gu Zhen's mind to be in a mess. He could not help but think. If he were to lose to them again, would he be able to bear the consequences? Uncle Gu, Wang Kai does not want to kill you, but if you force him to kill you, I can only say that you are really stupid, Ishu said indifferently. Gu Zhen became extremely embarrassed upon hearing this. He did not expect that his thoughts had actually been guessed by them. There were no loopholes at all just now, all right? Moreover, the most important thing was that he did not even think of a way to deal with them. These two people and a dog were simply too terrifying. Let's upgrade the Candle Dragon's eye. Then, after Gu Zhen led the way in the air, Wang Kai followed slowly. At the same time, he used his mind to communicate with the system. Congratulations to the host for successfully upgrading the Candle Dragon's eye to the level of Sacred Eye. A total of 200 bragging points have been used. Host, after the upgrade of the Candle Dragon's eye, the X-ray pupil technique will disappear. Host, Wang Kai occupation, Chaotic Warrior, Array Breaker Realm, Sage Grade 6 Cultivation Technique, Saint Daiyuo Diamond Body, Chaotic Million Formation Image Martial Skill, Saint Void Hand, Array Breaking Technique Equipment, Saint Chaos Heaven Swallowing Halberd the Power of God, Level 5 Pupil Technique, Saint Candle Dragon's Eye Bragging Points, 100 Experience, 9000100000. As the system sounded continuously, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. The upgrade of the Candle Dragons, I caused the X-ray pupil technique to disappear. Did this mean that the Candle Dragons, I contain the power of X-ray? Chapter 1026. My friend, Tianyin still needs 3 days to rush back. In these 3 days, you can wait here. If you need anything, you can order your men to buy it in the city. In the Gu family mansion, Gu Zhen hurriedly brought Wang Kai and the rest to a courtyard. After settling them down, he carried the unconscious in and quickly left. Looking at the huge courtyard, Wang Kai could not help but rub his nose. He smiled playfully and said, "This is interesting. However, 3 days is too long. Ben Xiao really does not want to wait." As he spoke, Wang Kai cast his gaze towards Ishu. When he saw her indifferent expression and frown, he guessed in his heart that she would not agree to it, right? "Can you let your stupid dog leave first?" Ishu pursed her red lips and said in a deep voice, "Woof, woof, woof. The Prince of Dogs will naturally leave. Hee. I'll give you a chance to repay me with your body." In response, before Wang Kai could say anything, the Dog King smiled knowingly. He controlled the black fog and quickly left the courtyard. "Damn you, stupid dog. Sooner or later, I'll stew you." Ishu's face turned red. However, the Dog King had guessed her thoughts. In an instant, she felt deeply ashamed and helpless. If she did not take the initiative, not to mention whether Wang Kai could help her, the sun-shooting bow would definitely be destroyed by him once the time limit was over. In the end, it was all her fault for being too reckless. If she had not trusted Gyuan, she would not have ended up in such a situation. What do you want to talk to Ben Shao about? If you want to plead for him, forget it. After all, there are too few people in this world who are as benevolent as Ben Shao. He can withstand your betrayal once, but he will not be able to withstand a second or third betrayal. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th rank Sage Realm. Upon hearing this, Ishu bit her lips tightly. After hesitating for a moment, she lowered her head and said, "Let's head to Godstone region now. As long as we reach there and obtain information about the fire region, everything I have will be yours." After arriving at the Stone God domain and confirming the news, Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. He thought that she would take the initiative to offer herself. He never thought that she would actually negotiate with him. "Are you qualified to negotiate with Ben Shao?" Wang Kai shrugged and asked with a playful smile. Whoosh! Ishu's delicate body suddenly trembled at these words. She raised her head and coldly stared at Wang Kai as she said in a deep voice, "This is my bottom line. If I give everything to you now and you go back on your words at the last minute, when I have no one to seek redress for this injustice." Haha, you are a traitor. How dare you mention going back on your words to Ben Shao? Wang Kai was rather surprised by this. He rubbed his nose, and his expression was full of disdain as he laughed. "However, you are right. If Ben Shao goes back on his words, there is no one in the chaotic world who can compete with Ben Shao. You will indeed have no one to seek redress for this injustice." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. That's right. Therefore, you have to promise me that this time, I will definitely not betray you and will not leave your side at all. Please believe me. Ishu gritted her teeth and said resolutely. Looking at her expression, it was as if she had made a huge sacrifice and did not look like she was lying at all. Do you think Ben Shao will believe you just because you say that you will not betray him? How can there be such a good thing in this world? Moreover, you will not leave Ben Shao's side. In that case, when Ben Shao sleeps at night and wakes up to pee, you'll have to follow him? If so, Ben Shao can promise you. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled playfully. Swoosh! Upon hearing this, Ishu's face froze. She did not expect Wang Kai to make such a request. Could it be that he could not see her body and wanted to take advantage of her? Forget it. Meeting him is a blessing and a curse for me. Since I have decided to hand everything over to him, I don't care about this short period of time. I will let him take advantage of me. After thinking about it, Ishu could only choose to nod her head and agree. At this point, she had let go of everything and suddenly felt that everything was reasonable. If it was not for Wang Kai, she might not even have been able to get the sun-shooting bow. Now that she had the hope of getting the sun-shooting bow, it was all because of Wang Kai. Although she had to pay a price, she was the one who had caused this price. If she wanted to blame someone, she should blame that damn Gyuan. He was too full of himself. It was too easy for him not to die. Thinking of this, Ishu bit her red lips and walked lightly to Wang Kai's side. The distance between the two of them was extremely close. Just as she had said, she did not leave his side at all. TSK, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to take advantage of Ben Shao? Ben Shao can tell you that there are too many women in this world who want to get close to Ben Shao. Unfortunately, Ben Shao does not like any of them. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled casually. As he spoke, he took a few steps away. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Seeing this, Ishu sighed in her heart. How could she not know that Wang Kai was deliberately teasing her? At that moment, she had no choice but to take a step forward and stand beside Wang Kai again. Why are you so shameless? Ben Shao already told you not to get so close to Ben Shao, but you just had to walk over. Is Ben Shao really so charming that you can't stop loving him? Why do you love her so much that you can't stop? Wang Kai frowned and pretended to be puzzled. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai took a few steps back in high spirits. Ishu's grievances finally exploded. With tears in her eyes, she walked back to Wang Kai without saying a word. Seeing this scene, Wang Kaijin felt a little apologetic. If he continued to make trouble, he was afraid that she would cry again. Forget it. Since you admire Ben Shao so much, then follow him. Ben Shao is going to the toilet to relieve himself. If you want to follow him, then come over and help Ben Shao. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled playfully. In his heart, he was looking forward to it. He had never tried something like this before. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Whoosh. With that, Wang Kai took a step forward. However, Ishu stood rooted to the ground, as if she did not want to believe what she had just heard. Hold. What do you want me to hold? Are you a child? Ishu could no longer hold back her tears, and they rolled down her cheeks. At the same time, she was very angry, but she also felt that it was a little funny. It could be said that she was angry and amused at the same time. She really could not tell what kind of person Wang Kai was. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.